Welcome back. Hide the babies and old people. We're racing to New LA on Bad Movies Rule. Let's go. We're going back to the year 2000, ahead into the future, but back into the year 2000.
Right.
Oh, that's right. This is one of these future dystopian past movies.
It was the year 2000 as predicted by the year 1975.
85,
Right.
95.
Yeah.
So 20 years later, 25
Yeah.
years later, they thought that's what we'd be doing.
We're almost as far from 2000 as they were in the other direction.
Wow.
Right?
Math's not my strong.
30 years after
Carry
World
one.
War II ended,
Yes.
they predicted that in 25 years that being a Nazi would be 1/20th of the race. Or 20% of the entire race.
Were they only off by 40 years, 50
like,
years or so, maybe?
This is exactly how it's going to be. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to Bad Movies Rule. We're thrilled that you're here. And we're talking, this is only our second movie from the 70s ever, after Mr. No Legs, which is up on the wall over there. And now we've got Death Race 2000. And because it's a racing movie, we had to have Clint Bush in
Gotta
the
have
house
Clint.
with us. Clint,
Good,
what's
I'm
up,
glad.
dude?
Not much, man. I'm excited to be here. This is a great day.
The 400th time you've seen this movie?
I wouldn't say 4. I mean,
Okay.
it's in the double digits probably.
Oh, all right. All right.
Not like super deep, but yeah.
So you really like it? Or we'll wait and see.
Wait and see. Yeah,
Do
we
I
don't give
really
away.
like it? I mean, this
No spoilers. Wait till the end of the episode.
is supremely entertaining.
Yeah, so I've never seen it before, ever. Came in brand
You've never
new.
seen this one before?
Never.
Oh.
Not even
well,
bits.
what an
And I
experience
think
for you.
Ryan Mattila also in the house. Hello,
Never
Ryan.
saw it?
Hey guys.
First time?
This is my first time seeing it.
Wow.
I can't fathom you didn't see this.
I didn't even know
Horrible.
Stallone was in it.
Death Race 2000 Virgins. That
That's
seems
right.
appropriate for this.
So I'm assuming, Charles, you
Not
have
anymore.
seen
I
it.
have seen this when I was way too young to see it the first time.
Oh, jeez.
Ditto.
Yeah.
What were
it
you?
stirred special feelings. Except it was the TV version, so they weren't that stirred. But there were still some special feelings. Well,
Gotcha.
and some disturbing feelings.
Got it. Now, I remember when we did Roadhouse, you had said if 12-year-old you had seen this, it would have
Yeah,
probably...
no, this was
been
so
bad.
I marked my life out in 2 time frames.
Okay.
Basically. Well, 3 now, I suppose. But
Yeah.
I grew up in North Carolina until I was going into the 5th grade. So what does that make you, like 9 or 10?
Sure.
So I saw this movie pre-California move.
Oh wow, yeah.
From
Young.
North Carolina. So I was somewhere in the 7, 8, 9-year-old range.
Wow.
Now,
Wow.
yeah. Now, I don't know if I mentioned on this post as well that my mom took me to see movies like The Killing Field.
I think you had... Yes, you mentioned The Killing
and,
Field specifically.
and
yes.
Uncommon Valor.
Oh, my God.
Now, I don't think my mom would have approved of Death Race 2000. So I saw this at a friend's house on a sleepover. Of course.
Okay, now, I'm sure we've all seen a movie we weren't supposed to at a sleepover before.
I was never invited to a sleepover.
No, that's not true, Clint.
I don't have any.
And James is just thinking, I don't ever remember inviting Clint to a sleepover.
No, so-
I didn't.
We absolutely did not.
In 5th grade, I was at a friend's house sleeping over, and that's the first time I saw Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Which
See, that was
absolutely
too scary for me.
would not have been allowed in my house at all. And I hated it because I was so freaked out by it.
So I was young, and I remember the parts I remember about this movie being a youngster is being disturbed by the murderousness.
Weak sauce. You're weak
Yeah,
sauce.
murderous. But it
get
was
over
on
that.
TV, and it was
You
like
gotta
late
get
at
over
night.
that.
No, but it was so realistic. How could you not be
You're right.
scared by
Yeah,
it? you
well,
know?
when you're 8, 9, and
That's the best special
that's like,
effects they
that
had
was less
back
than
then.
10 years, probably less than 10 years after this movie was made.
No, I
so
believe it.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I believe
talking. Not talking too far. This is pretty current movie, really.
Well, those of you that are new to the show, what we do is we're going to walk through this movie scene by scene, but first we're going to give you the vitals, who directed it, wrote it, who stars in it, what the scores are from the critics. And then after we've walked through the entirety of the movie, we're going to give it some awards, good acting awards, bad acting awards, our favorites. And then at the end, we're going to determine, is this actually a bad movie? Is it really a good movie and a lot of these people are wrong? Or is it, a bad movie, but we enjoyed it, so it's a bad movie that rules? We'll see. Where we all, I think I know where Clint is.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I don't know yet.
I think
You got a great
everybody's
poker face,
exactly
buddy.
the same as me. Exactly the
Yeah.
same.
We'll
place
see.
I am.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a movie. It's an issue movie.
It is. It's a movie that was written, directed by people I'd never heard of before in my life.
Probably a reason for that.
Paul Bartel was the director here. The only
Oh,
thing
Paul, I remember him.
you remember Paul Bart? You know what?
You were
though?
at the sleepover with
He
him.
was
One of the guys.
he was the dad of the guy that Charles slept over at his house. So he's like, "You guys want to watch this movie I made?"
Watch this movie I made. No, I wish that was true. The guy who slept house, he was quite poor.
Oh,
Mark was a nice.
Well, this guy might.
I think Paul. Yeah, I was
this
just
is
gonna
his quality
say.
of his career.
Yeah, that's
might
true.
be.
I don't know if he lived on our street in North Carolina or not.
Paul does have a connection,
My,
a really small connection.
My 4th grade teacher lived on my street, though. Mr. Barnes.
Was Mr. Barnes the type of teacher that would watch Death Race 2000 with you?
4th grade me probably didn't know Mr. Barnes that well.
Okay.
He was a large, very kind, but kind of scary African American man.
Yeah, he's not watching this movie.
Mr. Barnes, if
Yeah.
you're listening,
Mr. Barnes.
friend Charles on Facebook and
Yeah,
let him know.
He's
Mr.
trying
Barnes
to
was a
find
good
you.
He's
teacher.
been
He
trying
had the
to find
basement
you.
classroom at Waxhaw Elementary School.
They stuck him in the basement.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe there's some stuff about that. I'm not aware
Man.
of now
Is that
that I
North
look back.
Carolina?
That was North Carolina. Yeah.
I wouldn't
Mr.
have done
Barnes
good.
was a cool teacher.
doing
It had huge windows.
4th grade in the basement. I
They had huge
only
windows.
think good above ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like,
They had huge windows, though.
oh well, okay.
We got a new office for you.
I think I might have peed myself in 4th grade.
The connection that Paul Bartel
Jesus.
has.
These are the things. people
Let's talk
don't
about
need to
this
know.
more. Let's talk more about this.
Or was that
Welcome
the grade
back
I
to
got
Charles'
pushed?
This is like, hey,
Or was that the grade I got pushed into the mud on the edge of the concrete
nobody
asphalt
remembered the
around
time I
this
pissed
pole?
my pants. But hey, internet, that happened.
But hey, Death Race 2000. Now, so the director of this movie, Paul Bartel, actually has a small connection to BMR because he played a congressman in Escape from LA, like a small part in that. And so he's actually done some acting and some directing, this guy. It was written by Robert Thom, Charles Griffith, and Suzanne Collins.
4 writers?
No, I'm just kidding. Suzanne Collins is the girl that wrote Hunger Games,
Oh.
which is basically this movie but with cars.
I can't watch Hunger Games.
I think there's a couple of movies that took some inspiration from this.
100%,
Or they have a common ancestor.
for sure, which is Death Race 2000.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
It's the
and
greatest.
you know, you were talking about Little Shop a few minutes ago because I got my Audrey 2 up
Yeah.
here. That guy Charles Griffith actually wrote the original Little Shop of Horrors, the movie that wasn't a musical, then they remade into a musical. The
Oh, really?
1960 version
Oh, wow.
was written by the same
Well,
guy.
that's quality stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Movie stars David Carradine, Mr. Kung Fu himself. In fact, he was straight off of, like, he walked off the Kung Fu set
Right.
and did this movie. And
He did it because someone told him it'd be good for his career.
Yeah.
To go right into a movie after
Gotta
being
do
a
a
long
movie
time
immediately or
television
you'll
show.
never get
and he never talked to that person again.
Yeah, probably not. Actually, no. I think I read IMDb. It actually worked for him. He thought.
Oh, did it? Okay. All right.
He had kind of a weird death, though, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll talk about that.
That's
I don't
kinda
know.
sad,
We'll see where this conversation goes.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone is also in this movie,
Amazing.
Yes.
which, you know, I'm a huge mark for Stallone, so I was in immediately when I saw that.
Not at all playing a typecast character.
No, in fact, at this point, no one knew who he was. That Rocky hadn't happened until the next year. That was 76.
Oh, really? He was
Yeah.
just about to do rock.
So this was pre-Rocky. He was just an Italian dude.
So you would think that he's Rocky the next year. He probably knows how to box a little bit. We'll get back to that later.
well, Frankenstein was
Kung fu
made
guy,
by
that's
Swedish
right.
doctors.
Yeah.
You don't mess with Swedish doctor man.
This also starred Simone Griffith, who played Annie, and Mary. I just put her name on here because, well, she plays Jane, but I want to know how to pronounce this. Voronov.
Voronov. I don't know. Hot chicks, all you got to say. Hot chick 1, hot chick 2, hot chick 3, hot chick 4, hot chick 5, baby.
Is Bob
right,
here?
Bugs
Wait, am
Bunny
I
first
taking
base.
Bob's
Bugs
spot
Bunny
here?
for
What's happening?
Bob
I've had a lot
today.
of caffeine coming into this show tonight, so that could be dangerous for me.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm drinking more right now.
Bob.
Bye, Starbucks.
I wonder what the casting process for this
mocha.
movie. In fact, actually, I don't want to know what the casting process was like
Yeah,
for this
probably
movie at all.
wasn't
Don't
very
tell me.
appropriate.
It's probably not good.
The budget for this movie, maybe the lowest out of any movie. Maybe Mr. Nuggs was slightly lower, but it was a $300,000 budget. That's it.
Estimated.
Wow, that's not very
Estimated.
Yeah.
$300K
That's why
is
cars were so
nothing.
amazing.
Well,
Dude, I would drive those cars today to work. I'd daily that.
I think that's why the intro was like drawings from my fridge. Like, it was like little crayon drawings.
over the credits.
Air America, they were like, they stole those drawings that they were working on in the plane.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good callback. I like that. Yes. Actually, I like the art though in the beginning.
That's why they were. We
Sky
couldn't figure out why
orange,
they were
man.
coloring in the plane because they had these credit sequences they had to
Yes.
get done.
That's
It wasn't like bad. It was just
No, but it was cheap.
weird, but cheap. Cheap.
For sure. The movie, though, grossed somewhere. I mean, Google didn't know for sure. They said it was between $5 and $8 million.
They made
That is
money.
gross.
So they made money for sure. It's sitting currently at an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yes. How's it here?
Yeah, how is it here?
a 64% audience score.
Wait a minute.
Wait, critics liked it more than the audience?
Yeah.
That is weird.
I know.
That is super weird.
And this is how it gets. So for
Here's how
as
it's
far as our criteria goes, anything under 6 automatically qualifies. Over a 6.5. And it's a no, but between 6 and 6.5, as we've said this a few times, it's a judgment call. And this is a 6.2 on IMDb. Besides that, it's got a whole series of other movies. Jason
James,
Statham.
just admit you wanted to see Simone Griffith, Mary
That's
Roberta
not-
Collins.
No, I could just watch
Martin
Roadhouse
Cove,
again.
Louisa Moritz, Don Steele. You just wanted to see these.
Oh, Martin
folks.
Cove, especially.
Ah,
I really
Nero,
wanted
baby.
to see.
Nero.
I was really upset that Martin Cove didn't get his butt out of his pants at any
How did
point.
Stallone's towel not fall off? I mean, come on.
How did he have enough pull,
Yeah, I
swagger
don't know.
to not have to take his towel off?
Actually, the people in the movie decided that their viewers probably want to see naked women. not
Women.
naked men.
That is true for me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what do
this
they
is,
call that? An exploitation movie.
Exploitation. Yeah, this is a movie that when you see it on TV and then you see it unedited is very sort of different.
Oh yeah, you're like, whoa.
experience. Yeah.
Like with Thomas Crown Affair
Yes,
with you.
yes,
right, on the
yes.
plane.
I would never have recommended this one to anyone to begin with. So
You
I
wouldn't
was
have gone
safe.
to your
I wouldn't have gone to my elders. Hey, you should watch Death Race 2000.
It's great, man.
Oh, I didn't know there was a whole bunch of naked chicks in it.
And murdering of people.
And David Carradine dancing in his black underwear.
Yes.
Dude,
With
that was
a
an
weird
amazing part.
hand.
Great, man. So
That part was
You
amazing.
want
the
to
other
dance?
part of why I allowed it on the show, it's at a 6.2, but also there's a whole series of Death Race movies they remade
I saw
starting
that.
in 2008. There's 4 of the new ones now.
Oh, man.
And those are
those.
all rated low. And so I figured, kind of like with Tremors, which was highly rated, we want to get into the Tremors series.
Here's where that works.
Yeah.
Those newer movies are all probably production based better, but
Yeah.
not nearly as entertaining.
I'm sure
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm sure that's exactly what happens.
Am I going to be watching a lot of Death Race movies? In the
Oh,
future?
God, I hope
I don't know
so.
if we're gonna. I
Get 'em
don't know
on.
if we're
Let's
gonna
do it.
marry, because if I keep marrying everybody to the same
That's
series,
true.
then I won't have anyone
I might
available
be
to do
willing
anything.
to pop back in.
We'll see.
To drive back.
We can just do an extra
Death Race.
episode a week.
roll back into
Perfect.
another
Yeah.
episode of Death Race.
We'll just start doing 2-a-days, Jay.
Well,
There you
if
go.
you guys could do us a favor, first of all, thank you for listening. Second of all, if you could roll on over to Apple Podcasts. I know some of you listen on Apple, some on Spotify, and any number of other things. But here's why specifically we're asking if you could to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, because found this out. If you have been doing movie reviews for 2 years, which we are coming up on 2 years in March, and you have 200 Apple reviews on Apple Podcasts for movie podcasts, which we're at like 60 something now, but 140 away, then we could qualify to have our reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and we could influence we
More
could
than we already
influence
do?
the tomato
I'd be
scores
a tomato
of the movies.
That would be
score?
awesome.
Yes.
That would be like a life goal I never
That's
thought
what I'm
I
saying.
wanted.
We
We could
already moved
literally
movies on
change the
IMDb.
scores. Be great.
Wow.
So,
how would we do that?
that's
We have to
awesome.
write actual
Head over
reviews?
to head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review for Bad Movies Rule.
Please, I want to be
feel
a
that
Rotten Tomato
James-
judge.
James is going to abuse this power to get movies he wants
Seriously.
dropped low enough
That's
so we can
true.
do them.
No,
So help us.
You don't question my
true.
integrity. I will always operate with integrity for sure. If you guys want to connect with the show, there's all kinds of ways that you can do that. You could email the show at thisshowIstrash@gmail.com. As we always say, we're the worst movie podcast ever. We do no research. We roll in here off the cuff, and it is what it is. We're glad that you're here with us. We're also very active on our Facebook, facebook.com/badmoviesrule. And if you want more of a VIP experience, including bonus videos and bonus episodes, like you want to see Charles and Clint and these guys spliced into movies via green screen, like you got to sign up for our Patreon to see that. So it's patreon.com/badmoviesrule. For as little as $3 a month, you get access to a lot of stuff. There's different tiers where you get more and more. And we just appreciate you supporting the show as we are building this thing. And just thank you for being along for the ride.
Hey, I might need help because I just realized this cup said "do not microwave," and I microwaved it to warm it up.
Uh-oh.
So I may need money for pay for medical.
I think you're drinking plastic right now.
And yeah, it's concerning. So this cup is made of 30% post-consumer recycled fiber. What does that mean? It has leached poop in there or something?
Just eat it.
I'm drinking.
start
I
biting
thought
it.
it tasted a little different after I microwaved it.
No, just start biting it. You'll be fine. How about we jump into this movie?
Wait, there's a movie?
There was a movie.
All right.
All right.
Death Race 2000.
Let's kick the tires and see how it goes.
Light the fires. As I said, it's Hunger Games with cars.
I can't watch Hunger Games. Morally opposed.
So in Hunger Games, it was like, it's not the United States anymore. It's the,
That's true.
the Commonwealth of whatever. I don't even know what it was called, but it's like another thing. They, every year to appease the public, they have this violent spectacle.
Yes.
Right?
But they were children.
Yes, there's a few differences, obviously, but I'm just saying.
That's real exploitation.
Basically, the same bones.
Wait. Wait. What? Those actresses got paid?
There's stuff out there that some of these actresses didn't want the towels to fall off.
Okay, that's true.
Were
that's
unwilling
bad. That's
to
bad. That's
fight.
bad. You should.
Powers that be to stop
that is
it from
bad.
happening.
That's
So
bad. Okay, Hunger Games is better.
right,
Killing children for my
that's
entertainment's
fine.
better.
That's better.
Much better.
Here's what I appreciate about this movie, especially after some of the recent ones
Those kids
where
got paid.
we have been sitting in like an hour and a half comedy like McHale's Navy, is that this movie is 77 minutes long.
Yeah, it was perfect time.
They don't waste any time with bull crap.
Nope.
The movie starts and they're like, it's time for the race.
I mean, the
And
last
let's
5
go.
minutes didn't need to exist. We could
No.
just, I mean,
But I'm just saying, like, it's like lean and mean, and they didn't
Yeah.
put a whole lot of superfluous things in here that we didn't need.
Nope.
Which I
they
appreciate.
didn't have the budget for it.
Could
As a
maybe
few-
put a couple more things in to help me understand a few things.
Well, okay. Well, you
But
mean,
I like it.
you didn't
lean and
understand.
mean.
If you understood it, you wouldn't watch it.
All I needed is
72
what
times.
this movie gave me, pretty much.
You didn't like the cityscape of New York 2000.
That was a draw. 1 minute it was a real picture. The next
painting.
minute it was a painting.
That's
With,
what
and
I'm
I like
saying.
a little train that goes by. Like magic in the art.
Right. This whole movie starts in a beautiful painting of New York City 2000. It's like Mary Poppins. They're inside of a painting.
Yeah.
To
Man,
start.
that's how you make a $300,000 movie. Like, we don't need no scene shots. It's
See,
hard
if
to
my-
find dystopian backdrops.
My nephew drew
draw
a
it.
picture one time that was pretty good. You see if you can get him
Yeah,
in here.
exactly.
We can sketch some
You know,
of
for
the
a
stuff out.
dystopian future, it wasn't all that negative.
No. I mean, everybody seemed miserable, but I wasn't really sure why.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
the big deal? You're just gonna get killed.
I mean,
like,
people were out. They were
walking
out.
down the street.
Yeah.
I mean, they were still working. They had families picnicking on that day. I mean, they didn't seem.
Yeah,
That was a real family.
Right, what a day for a picnic.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go
Death
fish
race.
by
Do
the.
people not know this is happening?
We're just gonna go fish over here by the fractured curves of the road that doesn't exist anymore.
All right, so here's the synopsis, basically. It's we race to New LA, but we stop in St. Louis and Albuquerque for sex breaks, and that's pretty much the movie.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right?
And
Hey,
food.
Yeah.
And food.
Maybe some fuel.
Right. Okay, maybe. But that's
And to
not really
lay
what
out-
was
Lay
highlighted.
out cars that may or may not have been exploded by French people.
Yeah. The French are the villains of the movie, I should say that as well.
Frenchies are coming for us.
Well, the French are
Yes.
played out to be the villains. They're not though.
All right, so let's start off because, man, right away they're like, all right, we got this race. And first things first, we got Junior Bruce in his
That guy's awesome.
flowing ascot.
Yes, and his weird microphone.
He just
that says
talks into a
TV
stick.
on it.
In
Yeah.
1975,
with little lights, glowing lights.
They imagined that in the year 2000, everybody just came from an episode of The Soul Train.
Yes.
I mean, they did not put any effort whatsoever into what the future is actually going to look like in this movie. None wasted.
Apparently, all the dentists lost their jobs at some point too, because none
Yeah.
of these people had good teeth.
Hey, fluoride works, man.
Were people not
That's
brushing their
mind
teeth in the
control. Our water.
70s?
Fluoride is mind control, man.
well,
But
and
keeps your
this
teeth
is-
nice.
This is another callback to a show that took off from this. I think is this was like this dude was the embodiment of Nigel Thornberry.
Yes,
He
that's a great
literally
call. He was.
looked
He was
like
that.
him
just like him.
from
The Wild Thornberries.
yeah,
Oh, I don't know that.
it's a kids show.
That's a kid show.
Never heard of it.
I was
Try
too busy
having,
watching
try
Death
being
Race
a
2000
cultured person and you would know
Seriously.
these kinds of
I was
things.
too busy watching Death Race 2000 as a kid to
That's what I'm
watch
talking about.
cartoons.
That and
I was
Nightmare on Elm
exploitation
Street.
films.
And then there's the other reporter too. It's like Gossip Gertie from Batman and Robin.
yeah.
came
Jennifer
back.
Coolidge's grandma.
Is that really?
Is that who it looked like? It wasn't actually. I looked it up. I was like, this has to be her, but
Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
And everybody she talked to a close personal friend of
Close
mine.
personal friend.
She was great too.
She was good.
I wouldn't say that.
The first racer we get introduced to is Calamity Jane.
Calamity
Kelly,
Jane. She was nice looking.
with a. Was she?
I thought so.
My
I mean, all
wife-
these girls, I got nothing against any of them.
My wife literally was like, I didn't realize this was transvestites. Like, that chick had a deep voice, too.
I like Calamity.
Jane came up and was like, "What's up,
Outfit.
guys?
I
How's
thought
it going?"
Her car was dumb, but
You know where the weight room is? Sorry, I'll check it out.
She had a bull, like a cow. It was like a bull car with the bull horns, right?
She had
the car
an
was
Adam's
dumb.
apple out to here.
The first thing she does, she sits down and like, oh, your fans are wishing luck. She's like, yeah, my fans can wish me all the luck in the world. I'm having too much sex to care about it.
Yeah.
If I have any more luck with my lovers, I wouldn't make this race at all.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm like,
something like
okay,
that.
weird
Yeah.
flex, but all right, that's fine.
Yeah, well,
And she's driving a Corvair. That's sweet.
yeah, the Corvair was interesting. The cars were interesting.
I like the
They
cars.
all look the same to me.
They are. They yeah.
I mean,
all
that-
look
they were
well,
dressed
two
up-
of them
they
were
were dressed up
Volkswagens,
differently.
Yeah.
VW Bugs. One was a Corvair, and the other was I can't remember what they
There's a
said.
Fiat
Fiat.
850
Yeah, that's
Spider.
weird.
Really?
And there's
Fiat.
a Carmen Ghia.
They all looked like the same car with
Carmen
different
Ghia
bodies.
was Mattila the Hun, or Matilda the Hun was the Carmen Ghia.
They
That
were
one.
all built by the same brain trust. You know, whoever put these cars together. So
Yeah.
They
Same
all
team.
looked like parade floats.
yes,
I
like all it
thought
was.
I was disappointed. I thought
Deadly parade.
I thought the main
float.
guy, Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, yes.
I thought that was a Corvette, but it was not.
it is not a
Bug,
Corvette, it's a
but it
Beetle.
had the
Gotcha.
shape kind
Yeah.
of. So I was disappointed when I learned that.
The next racer we meet, we got the Swastika Sweetheart.
Yes, we
live
do.
from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Woo! Go Milwaukee
I was
Nazis!
like, really?
What's
Milwaukee?
that all
I
about?
mean, it was
Yeah.
Germantown in
I was like,
Milwaukee.
It's true.
Was it?
1975.
Yeah.
What was with the random shot fired at Milwaukee,
I don't
Wisconsin?
know. Well,
Somebody
it is
pissed him off.
heavily German, but yeah, I don't know. Somebody must have upset them or
His
something.
That was-
first ex-wife moved
Yeah,
to
seriously.
Milwaukee.
And her name was Matilda, so he got Matilda the Hun.
And Fred Grandy was her what do they call
Oh,
those guys?
Herman the German.
Herman the German was
was his
the guy
navigator.
from Love Boat.
Navigators.
He
Oh.
was one of the Love Boat characters.
My gosh. And apparently he had a sexual relationship with Jane at one point, it seemed like at the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of seemed like
Yeah.
She
that.
was something about like,
Well,
hope
they
those
all
Jordan-
were. They were all
Yeah,
More
that's
juice in it than it did last year.
It's like, all right.
These people
geez.
got around a bit.
Every time, like everything is just layered in sex. Every
Well,
interaction.
okay, so let's do a little bit of a deep dive. here.
Okay, well,
if you're
please.
whole-
Let's really get
Like
into
Frank-
if
Frankenstein.
you're on a racing circuit where your main goal is to kill people, I'm guessing you're going to have some trauma, PTSD, some emotional upheaval within your soul.
That's why the
from murderers.
massages
So
in the same room.
You have to have massages
Full
in
of
the
naked
same
people.
room. You're probably going to act out with alcohol, drugs, sex, those sorts of things. So my guess is these people are trying to self-medicate the pain and the guilt and the shame they feel by getting it on, baby.
It's not murder. It's just part of the race.
Interesting.
It's true.
I wonder what their relationship with their parents was like.
Probably not great, would be my guess. If you end up on this circuit, it could be some. Well, maybe
to
not. I don't
imagine
know.
not.
In 2000, how was people's parent life?
The one woman was there with her great grand. Annie was there with her great grandmother the whole way.
Hey, Dad,
next-
it'd be really great if you could come watch me at the race, and then he runs him over.
Yeah, yeah.
60 points.
The
So we
point
got-
system was jacked.
Well, yeah, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
We got for the next racer. We got is it's Ray Nero the Hero Lonigan. It's a long ass name.
Ladigan.
Sure, Martin Cove, aka Kreese, Sensei Kreese from the Karate Kid,
True story.
and I was very happy to see him, but he didn't last long.
I like the line there.
What did
Nero
he say?
says to Cleopatra, "You're blocking me, Cleopatra. My fans want to see me."
They haven't.
Cleopatra, why? They've never seen a has-been before? Which
Rough.
was somewhat of a foreshadow.
Rough, yeah, that's
Because
true.
he didn't
It was
go far
soon
in
to
the
be a
race.
has been.
Yes.
Then we get Machine Gun Joe,
Joe
Viterbo.
Turbo,
Chicago.
nice line there. The name Viterbo, I like that.
And he's straight up driving a knife car.
Knife with machine guns on the
Machine guns on the
side.
headlights,
Have
knife
you ever
right up
used
the
the machine guns?
No, they
Once.
weren't real.
No, not on the car.
He used his
had a-
machine
He had
gun.
his
Yeah,
one.
he just
one
shot.
time.
He just shot it randomly.
But what I love about this, because
That
again,
giant knife.
he had done nothing at this point other than, small, tiny parts. When he stood up with the Tommy gun and he does the whole Rambo face and everything,
Yeah.
and it looks exactly like when and I was like, oh my gosh, you could just see it right there.
Yeah,
like,
we knew it.
He's doing Rambo,
He had
but
never been.
he had never been it at that point.
I wonder if he actually just used to shoot people with guns, and that's
Well,
how
who was
Did he
he
fire into
shooting
the
at
crowd?
in that scene? It was very confusing.
He didn't
who
hit
was
anybody.
shooting.
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't show any reaction
No, I
shots.
have that in my notes going, wait, whose machine gun did you go shoot?
Yeah,
I think because all
He
the
was
crowd
shooting at
shots
the
were from a race,
Frankenstein fans.
like a real
They
race.
didn't have any, they did whatever.
And so when they were shooting, there was no one there.
There was no one there. And they're like, we're not going to put any extras of blood or anything. That's too expensive.
Exactly.
We don't got any artwork of it.
That would
we're
have
not
been
gonna show it.
310,000.
Yeah, right.
And then finally, my favorite introduction I ever everybody. They wheel this guy in on a gurney.
Yeah.
the blanket over. And they're like, he just came out of major surgery, but I'm thinking he's going to wake up in a second here. We'll just do this in front of the press.
Any minute now. Looks at his
They
watch.
sent him in a state of suspended animation.
That's right.
Well, and I did like how the camera guy has this huge backpack
Yeah,
on.
those
It
cameras-
looks like a
those cameras
stormtrooper.
are
Like it's 1975, but this is supposed to be 100 years
Yeah.
in the future. It's
Right.
like,
They're still
and we
wearing
don't
a
think that
giant
we
power
figured
pack.
this out yet.
Yeah, 25.
Right. Whereas now we would film it with this.
And get
Right.
better results.
And much
Right.
better results.
Results.
And I got to tell you, people, my phone is cheap. It would still be better.
Yeah, the cameras were hilarious.
Yeah, so this guy's name is Frankenstein, and you can see he's got a mask and he's got like the gimp outfit, right? And he's just got like a jacked up eyeball.
Yeah.
And
it's like going like this.
he's like doing this thing with his
You
teeth.
never see his mouth. You
like
just
because he
see
wants to
his
think he has no lips or whatever. And there's all the backstory you're hearing from
He's
the
like that.
reporters.
He's like the big teeth guy on Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah,
Mouth
kind
guy,
of
yeah.
mouth guy.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we're led to believe he lost a leg in '98. He lost an arm in '97.
His hand,
his face, his brain
He's
was
got a
transplanted.
hand now that'll shift 20 seconds faster.
Yeah.
I got a thing here. Best race car driver in history. This guy is in a lot of major accidents requiring
Okay,
reconstruction.
it is a
Yeah, it'd be
death
so
race.
good.
Pretty fair, yeah.
I mean,
The only survivor of the pileup of '95.
yeah.
the only kind of survivor.
That would only been 5 years later. So these racers,
what I'm saying.
I mean, where are they getting all these racers from?
I know, and Viterbo has raced a few times. It sounds
Yeah.
like he's
He
won
was a
before.
survivor.
He's jealous because he wants to be the best.
Yes, I love
The only
all of his insecurities throughout this whole movie.
right at the beginning there in his introduction. The only surviving death race contestant other than Frankenstein, the most highest points total behind Frankenstein.
That's right.
It's like the whole thing is like just put down.
Put down.
I have the actual quote. Do you want to hear it?
Oh yeah.
Junior, this is the great announcer,
Okay.
right? Frankenstein the legend, Frankenstein the indestructible, sole survivor of the Titanic pileup of 95, only two-time winner of the Transcontinental Road Race. Frankenstein, ripped up, wiped out, battered, shattered, creamed and reamed, the dancer on the brink of death. Frankenstein, who lost a leg in 98, an arm in 99, with half a face and half a chest and all the guts in the world, he's back.
That's right, baby.
There you
He's
go.
back.
That's pretty good writing.
That's what Frankenstein gets. What did Joe get? Loved by thousands, hated by millions.
And so the last person we're introduced to before the race really starts is
Mr. President.
Frankenstein has a new
Oh, that's right. Annie. New
navigator.
Yeah.
Because his navigator dies every year.
Annie.
And Annie is
Smoking hot. According to
She
that
is.
lady.
No, she is. She's very attractive.
smoking
But they don't know each other.
And he says, I don't care if she's smoking hot as long as she can fix cars.
Yeah,
She's
right.
a hot navigator.
Hot navigator.
Navigator.
The first thing we find out kind of right at the beginning that there is some kind of rebellion and resistance to the powers that be. So we find out Mr. President doesn't even reside in the United States. He's in his Peking summer
Was that where it was?
palace or whatever he's in, right?
Moscow or something.
Moscow. And no one ever sees him, so they're always asking Mr. Frankenstein because he's a close personal friend, supposedly, of the president. How is he? Where is he? All this
Why wouldn't they just ask that other reporter lady who's a close personal friend of everybody?
of everybody. We don't know, but we find out that there's this group led by this old lady called Thomasina. I can't remember what her last name is. Payne. Thomasina Payne. And she's got these other like lieutenants and things like that, and they're planning some kind of. We don't know yet what it is, but they've got some plans in store. And Annie is actually a plant.
Yes.
Yep.
She's Thomasina's granddaughter?
Granddaughter.
Great-granddaughter? She's a little confused. By the end, I think it's great-granddaughter, but I think it started out just as granddaughter.
Yeah.
This is where they're all on the set of the Newsies, right?
Yes, this is yes, where they had that important rebellious meeting. All right, so let's talk about the point system, Charles, because this is the first thing we really have to figure out when we start. They're like very short into the race. They have this little, I don't call it a vignette, whatever, where the news anchor goes through what the points
Explains,
mean.
which was helpful.
So you seem to think, so what it was, let me see if I can remember. It was the most points for babies and old people, right?
Yep.
And
Old
then
people were
women.
the most points, I think.
Old people were the most, then
babies were
babies.
Or babies were?
Babies
Oh, okay.
were 100.
Then-
Old people were 70.
Women were more points than men.
Yep.
By 10.
By 10, and then men was based on age, right? So if like if he was a 40-year-old,
30 was the break at 35 or something.
Something
like that.
like
Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
so the idea is you can come in second in the race and still win on points if you killed more people on your way across the country.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And so the point is to not only win the race, but to run over and kill as many people as you can.
It really is to kill people.
So it's kind of like the Purge,
Right.
mixed with the Hunger Games.
But here's my thing on the point system.
Yes.
So I think I understand why they do the point system, but I would think as a person trying to run over people, it would be more points for more mobile people because it's harder to get them.
Right.
So healthy young male, like a 20-year-old, 18-year-old, that's pretty hard to get one of them.
Yeah,
They're
that's
spry,
fair.
right?
I don't know,
they can jump,
because
they can parkour,
it's
they can
kinda
do
like-
stuff.
But it's kind of like deer. Like during the rut, you know, you got those young guys with all these hot girls around. They're doing stupid stuff.
Yeah,
You know, they're
true.
just gonna run out
Kinda
into the
balances
street.
out.
Yeah.
But so I think my brain told me, well, the reason the point system is they're trying to deal with like culling out people they
Yeah.
don't want. Like,
Right.
we don't want more population, so we'll kill babies.
Right.
We gotta get
what
rid
is
of
this
these
movie
old-
we're talking
That's what I'm saying,
Gotta
dude.
get
We
rid
just
of
got to
old
talk
people,
about it.
and we're gonna kill old people like Euthanasia Day, where they put them all out
Oh my!
on the
Can
road.
we talk about that, dude? They're like Frankenstein's kind of getting upset because he's a little bit behind in points, like in the first day, and he's like, "Don't worry, it's Euthanasia Day," and
Euthanasia Day.
I'm like, they're just wheeling
Wheeling
old
them
people
out.
into the street.
right out
Did
into
you
the parking
see
lot.
their faces?
couldn't
They're all
believe
sitting there, biggest smiles in their
They were
face,
excited
on
to
their
be killed
faces.
by
They were just like,
Frankenstein.
"It's a beautiful day. They
Yeah.
finally let me outside."
I couldn't wait. Here comes
yeah.
Frankenstein's
I
cresting
can
the hill.
explain that. The type of place that would wheel old people out into the street to die is probably not a great place to be as an old folks' home.
Okay, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
They all seem dressed pretty well, though.
Like, all right,
Taken
this
care
is
of.
one guy just
finally
laying on the
over.
bed.
That was their finest clothes they never got to wear.
The guy in the wheelchair definitely looked ready to go, but there was one dude looked like he was napping on the bed
Yeah.
that they wheeled him
So
out on.
that's
Maybe he was in a
Clint's
coma.
point's probably fair. They probably weren't very well taken care of.
Yeah.
Frankenstein's car crests the hill, and you see the old people there, and you see there's like a couple nurses still left, and they're like, "Oh crap!" and they like dart out of the
Yes.
road because it's time.
Yeah.
They run up on the sidewalk.
And Frankenstein veers off the road and runs over all the nurses
All
and
the
doctors.
nurses and doctors. Don't they
All
have weird like
spring in the air.
sounds?
That was
Boing,
awesome.
boing
Sounds
sounds like
boing,
that.
boing,
Yeah.
boing, boing.
Like it's 120 points.
Yeah.
You could have got 700.
Yeah.
I'd have just circled back around
Seriously.
and cleaned them all up. I'd have drove
Seriously.
through the lobby.
Wow, but for the plot of the movie, we're starting to get a glimpse. Maybe
This is true.
Frankenstein has a soul under here. Maybe there's
Foreshadowing.
something going on.
Yeah, because I think Annie asks him, "Why did you do that?" Right, and he says, "It was their turn," right, or
Yeah.
something like that,
something
like
like
because
that.
they
They
do
were
it-
dude or something,
they were-
yeah.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But the first points we actually get in the movie is Joe Viterbo gets the first kill.
Yes,
Yep.
that poor guy
Yeah.
in the crotch.
And the guy, the first, this is the
Construction
first
worker.
time we kind of get a glimpse of like the dynamic between him and Mary, which is his navigator, which is a very, to me, funny dynamic between Stallone and this girl. Is he runs over this first girl,
This
this
is funny,
first
huh?
guy, and she's just like, "Yeah, baby, yeah, you get that gets you off," and she's like, it's just they're never on the same page
Yeah.
through the entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, okay, so Joe gets the first kill, but then Jane kills the Matador guy. What'd you guys think of Matador guy?
Yeah, what an idiot.
I think this should have been my first clue on this movie. I did not pick it up though. I was just really confused. I was like, what exactly is happening? Like, yes, it's a bull car, but how did this guy know that this is where she was gonna be?
I don't know.
And
I mean, they know the route. They probably run similar
Yeah.
routes.
Oh, their
every-
routes
Yeah.
were ridiculous. One person went down to like Georgia,
Yeah.
while someone else is going across,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I don't think
Pennsylvania, and I'm like,
that's real.
This
yeah,
is one of my more annoying
This is
things.
like
in
the
all
Cannonball
movies.
Run
Yes.
mixed with
Yes.
mixed with.
well, the other problem is, why don't they have 5 racers? Why not have like 100
5
racers?
was
You're
kinda
going
weird,
across the
random
country.
I can answer that for you. Their budget was $300,000.
Could you imagine making 100 of those cars?
Okay, let's jump into the meta of this.
No, but I get what you're saying. In reality, yes, there would probably be like, and maybe in the newer Death Race movies,
They
there
could
are
have
a
had the
lot.
little
I don't
crayon
know.
drawing cars, and then like all
Just
the
like the train that went
There they
back on the
go.
thing. There he is.
Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep,
you
beep.
say the guy pushing the little
Like
box car with
Centipede.
his fingers.
Be awesome.
My
Yeah, but
problem with all of these kind of almost every movie, they're supposed to be filmed in other places. Car movies, particularly, and they're always filmed in California.
yeah, a lot of it was California.
Yeah.
So all of it was California.
And whoever went directly south towards Georgia, like you're not getting to St. Louis at the same time as these other
No.
cars
Nope.
are going. It's not happening.
You're gonna miss the massage, dude. You want to be in that naked people room? I'm telling you.
Oh Oh, yeah. So Matador guy, who's some kind of special idiot, like, and this is, I guess, we'll just get this out of the way now because it's a running theme throughout the movie. What is anyone doing outside?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why is anyone out there?
Well,
Because
Matador
they
guy
love the
obviously.
people.
Yeah, they did. Matador guy obviously was trying to test his will. It's like, why do people run with bulls in real life? Because they want to see what can happen. So
some
he was
of these
obviously
people,
doing that. But yeah,
some of these people were out there because they were,
Yeah.
but some of them were just like doing their
why
jobs.
was the family
Right.
camping? Why was the family having a picnic?
Why was the
Who does
why
road
was the construction
construction?
guy
Yeah.
doing?
There should be nobody doing road construction between New York and St. Louis on this particular day.
until tomorrow, right? Like it can wait till
Close.
tomorrow.
Well, and it's even weirder because of the $300,000
This is-
budget. There's only like 5 people on any given scene anyway, so
this
like
was
there's like no one else around.
1975?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy with the jackhammer in the middle of the street, it looked like he was listening to a Walkman.
Yeah.
I was like, that's weird.
Well, he had to not hear. Was that Joe's kill?
But it looked,
Yeah.
it would have just been earplugs or something. It looked like he had a wire
Yeah.
coming down like he was.
Yeah.
Was that around in 75?
I don't. I think maybe
maybe they were.
Somebody
maybe
had
they
a
were,
record.
they had a
player that
record
he was-
player strapped to
yeah.
their waist.
or was it hearing devices?
It skipped a lot, dude. It wasn't good.
Maybe they were ear
That
devices.
is their one freaking
a lot.
pickup
Oh, shit.
on the future.
OSHA devices.
Just you're trying to do a jackhammer and your record player keeps skipping. Who hasn't been there before?
But that's the thing. It's like it's the year 2000, so it's like they really did catch that one as
Well,
a future thing.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
The good news is that he doesn't have to worry about getting that vasectomy now.
That's also true.
True story.
So you mentioned the picnicking family because that's the next thing that happens. Is there's
I have a
this
quote from that line.
family that's picnicking, except it's not really a family picnicking. What's the quote? Is this what Nero?
Yeah, Nero and Cleopatra.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're right. It wasn't a family.
No, but they thought it was.
Yeah.
These sickos were literally driving up, going, "Oh, get the baby."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, his line
If
right
they
here.
split up, get the
Cleopatra. They're way behind. He hasn't killed anybody.
Yeah.
Or not very many, or not, and none maybe. Cleopatra. It isn't my fault everyone scored before us. You should have gone after that Boy Scout camp like I told you, Ray. Nero the hero language. I tried the gosh darn Boy Scout camp. You know how fast those Boy Scouts move? That's my point about the point system, right? It's hard to run over.
You're right. Those Boy
kids,
Scouts
right?
were like, "Not today."
Now here's something more your speed. She says that'll be at least 200 points. If they scatter, go for the baby and the mother.
Oh, that's
If they scatter.
horrible.
If they scatter, they may not even.
Yeah, if they just sit there, just
Look
go.
up,
Yeah.
you're like, eh.
And you're right. At first, I'm like, "What are they? Why are they picnicking?" But then there's literally the baby is a bomb.
Yeah, baby dynamite.
So as soon as the car runs over, goodbye, Nero the hero.
Right. So I have a theory about why I was confused about that.
Yeah.
I bet you when I saw this at 7,
Yeah.
the image of a family getting run over was ingrained in my head, not understanding what was going on.
Oh.
Because I have a few scenes that go through my mind
See,
from this film that maybe that's psychological.
could be it.
I'm
Well,
doing
and-
could be
Need
yeah.
a hug, bro?
And before this, that's where they show the newsy guy put
Yeah.
a little bonnet
Oh, right,
on, and you're like, what the heck
Lieutenant-
is going
I
on?
The bomb.
remember thinking that.
Or he's
in the
hiding
movie.
behind the tree.
He's like, I'm going out, and he puts the hat, and I'm like, what?
He's
the
got the mustache and
that's-
everything
yeah.
behind the
Yeah.
tree. He's like, "Come
That guy-
on,
what was
man."
that
Hides
guy's
behind the tree. He's
deal?
like,
As Lieutenant Fury,
Yeah,
he sucked.
Fury.
he was
That
Nick
his
Fury's
name.
dad.
Nick Fury's dad.
granddad.
Didn't the mom leader, the grandma leader, have a little like
Yeah.
button
A
up dress,
brooch
like
or
an old
something.
Brooch
Yeah.
or
brooch
something.
right in the middle from like 1950?
He's Lieutenant Fury. He wanted. She's like, no violence yet. He's like, "No, we're doing it." And so he's the.
And then he
This is the
puts on
first.
bonnet, right?
The
Yeah.
first person that the resistance kills is Nero. Like the resistance is trying to
End
destroy the race and kill all of the racers except for Frankenstein. They want to kidnap him and bargain his life for the president's, right?
Suit. Why is that guy in a Frankenstein suit?
So they talk about the ending the minority privilege
Yes.
early on.
Yes.
And then this resistance is trying to stop this race. I don't know. I mean,
Well,
maybe the writers were onto something. I don't know.
Oh, it's that kind of death race.
Different kind of race. The human race.
And the Nazis were involved from
I'm
Milwaukee.
just
true.
saying.
Those Milwaukee Nazis. You got to watch out for those guys.
Yeah.
We
I'm
did
not from here.
Yeah. We do not endorse the Milwaukee Nazi Party.
Not at all.
Don't.
No.
Joe pulls up and there's a banner getting put across the road. Stallone pulls up and it says Frankenstein on it. I just love Stallone. He pulls up and he goes, kind of calmly, "You see, this aggravates me."
Yeah. Yeah. I did like his reaction on that.
Right? And he ultimately runs. So he hits the ladder out from under the guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Has a chance to kill him, but he asks his friend. He's like, "Should I kill
his
this guy?"
friend's like,
and his friend's like, "Yeah, kill him."
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down, like gladiator
Yeah,
style.
gladiator
Yeah.
style.
And so Joe scores some more points on Guy again. Just another guy doing his job in the street.
Where's your sign for Machine Gun Joe? Or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
It's an inferiority complex. All right, well, that's day one. It's time for
Don't we get a cutaway here to the widow?
naked rub downs.
kill?
Oh, we do.
That was awesome.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
The great dear friend of mine.
Yeah.
Right.
Reporter lady goes and grabs the widow
Widow.
of the first victim.
Gets awards.
She's
for
still
this.
crying, and she's like so happy to be on TV, but
She gets
still
an
crying.
apartment in Acapulco. Right?
She can watch the race next year.
Yeah. And the description of the TV didn't make any sense.
They totally nailed it.
50-inch.
If this was real, they would totally do stuff like that.
Oh, 100%. Out here
Octo
live with the widow.
plasm.
Yeah.
Some-
Awards to like make it a little more palatable.
Well,
Yeah.
and that could be a reason why people are out is maybe people are out and they're like, if I do get killed, then my family gets taken care of.
That's true.
If it's, I got the impression it was just the first person.
yeah, first
Yeah, so
widow.
that's the
Oh,
thing.
first
I
kill.
don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, time for naked rub downs in St. Louis. For some inexplicable reason, they're all in the same room, all totally naked, laying out on this table. There's press there. There's cameras.
Underused
there's
towels.
people under towels that are not being utilized.
Lots of
all.
nipples.
Lots of nips. Lots of butts.
Lots of butts.
Lots of
There's some dude butts in there, ladies. It's not just
There is. And speaking of Nazis, Matilda, they're going around like interviewing them while they're getting these naked rubs. There's the whole nudity thing is treated so matter of factly, like it's nothing in this
Yeah.
movie, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're thinking like
Well,
just
it's
how
the
the
year
culture
2000.
was going to be in the year 2000, that no one would be.
Think about these people who are growing up. They're
Yeah.
probably 20s, 30s. The people doing this film in general, they grew up through the 50s and 60s. And look at what the 70s is with free love and peace and everything.
Yeah.
They literally probably were thinking, this is going to
gonna
be
move on
the
to
year
this.
2000, another 25 years, and it's not
No
going
one's
to matter.
gonna care.
Sex anywhere, everywhere.
Or they
First
just
it goes with the bras, and then they
or they just
Go with the
wanted
next
the
piece of
teenage boy market,
Or
the
they-
young
or that
male
possible.
market for this movie.
Teenage boys and Charles of all ages.
But Matilda, the
TV version.
the swastika sweetheart, is being interviewed, and she says, "I think this will be a win for the master race, women."
Yeah, that was a nice touch. Oh, it's not Nazism, it's
No,
feminism.
it's feminism. And in case you thought that they were going to maybe start leaning towards feminism, no, Stallone punches his
Punches-
wife in the face.
That was
Or the
bad.
navigator.
Or his
Yeah.
navigator,
Punches her right in the
girlfriend,
face.
whatever. Within 30 seconds of this girl power moment,
Yeah.
Stallone's just clocking her in the jaw.
I think this is where Ike Turner got his ideas. No, it wasn't just other film.
Yeah, she got a right hand, like it's like a Rocky, was like a straight up Rocky
Yeah.
Balboa
You got a-
body
you got a
shot
lefter,
to
yeah.
the
Yeah.
eye socket.
Yeah, it was bad news.
I was expecting
bad.
half her face to just be crunched, like just gone.
No, she looked fine.
Yeah. Next day, she's like, he hits like a girl.
Airbags deployed. She was safe.
This is where his complex
This is
comes
a pretty
from.
good line that Stallone had here when the news guy comes out, or the special agent. One thing before we begin, the government, he did this line really badly though, but one thing before we begin, the government would like it if no one said anything about Nero. Understand? He hit a tree and that's it. It got it. We don't want to depress anybody. Viterbo says, hey, everybody knows he's been blown up by the resistance, you schmuck. It was on television. If you want to drive again next year, Mr. Viterbo, you'll keep those opinions to yourself.
That's right.
I love
Yep.
that. Opinions, right? Yeah.
And
That's his opinion.
it only ramps up as they get to Albuquerque and more of them start to go.
Yeah.
They start saying it's the French. It's like
Yeah,
it's anything to spin it.
Yeah.
So the media can spin it so that no one thinks there's a resistance that's trying to stop it.
It's so
Mr.
fast,
President.
even like literally, we've got a guy given his. We've got. I can't think of his name. The guy with the ascot flowing.
Oh, Junior Bruce.
Junior's sitting there.
Junior Bruce.
He's given a thing at one point. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. He gets like, hold on a second. He gets a note. It's like, she scored a whole bunch of points. You know, like, they changed like totally flipped it.
Mid-sentence.
Yeah.
That's pretty good social
full spin
commentary,
machine.
I
Yeah.
thought.
We get the first kind of intimate scene between, Frankenstein and his new navigator, because again, this is the pit stop. It might be about cars and refueling and food, but they only ever make it seem like it's literally a sex stop. Like that's
Massage sex.
There's no.
There was one dinner scene in the second.
I guess there's a very short
Somebody
dinner
ate,
scene, but
yeah.
like for the most part, it seems like this is the whole purpose for stopping in St. Louis, right? And so he's in the bedroom. And even one of his fans stops him in the back room, right? And she's like, he's like, "Are you here to offer your body to me?" She's like, "No, your navigator gets that privilege." Almost like it's expected that the navigator is going to sleep with you.
Yeah.
She has earned that right.
Like, or whatever. And so they're in the bedroom. And you said we get this weird scene of it's like the reverse Gimp outfit. He's only wearing the mask and his black underwear, and they're dancing in the middle of this.
He took the mask. I know it was so weird because he took the mask off by the chair.
Right.
Yeah.
Took the mask off,
and it's a
threw it on the
huge room,
floor.
which was weird too.
Yeah.
Right? This giant room, and it's like a bed. It's
like a warehouse they set up like a hotel.
Clothes hanger.
Right.
And he takes his mask off over by the chair, and then he goes over to the thing, and then he has his mask back on.
Yeah.
Oh, and we also missed though that Frankenstein's actually very attractive. He's not all deformed.
Yeah.
And he actually is not.
He looks
hurt
just like
either.
David Carradine.
Yes.
It's weird. It's just uncanny. Like strangely.
Yes.
And there's this ongoing joke about the Swedish doctors putting him together, but he's like not hurt.
This is
The other thing about these hotel rooms they're in,
Yes.
they're like perfectly lit, like exit signs and push doors.
it's because it's an an airport hangar is
right.
where
It's like legitimately. There's nothing bedroom
they
about
just
this.
set it up to look like that. But this is foreplay in the year 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it, man.
I think
Wanna
this
dance?
is like our first clue that the director had never had sex. He's like, well, we're gonna have boobs out, and then he got like to the boobs, and he didn't
what
really
they
know what
do,
to do.
right?
And he's like, just
Ooh,
no,
boobs.
quit touching your boobs. Rub her
No.
sternum.
Yeah.
That's hot, right?
You dance around in your underwear. That's how babies are made. Right?
He's so skinny. He's so thin and weird looking.
He is.
Awkward.
Oh, man.
Carradine, I've never understood his,
Especially next to a very attractive lady.
yeah. I don't get that.
Why were you looking at Carradine during this scene?
The black underwear kept catching my
That's
eye.
right. It's just
Chuck,
it's
I
hard
worry.
not to.
I
And the
worry,
glove,
my
and the
guy.
weird glove. He's got a glove
Yeah,
on,
the
a
glove
mask,
was
a
weirding me
glove,
out.
and underwear. Like,
Look,
what
if
is
there's a
going
weird guy in his
on?
underwear with a mask and a glove, Charles
Although,
is intrigued by
can we
that.
He's gonna
just
check
say,
the underwear out and make sure.
I'm grateful he had his underwear on because it would have been far more
Far
uncomfortable had he just had the mask and the glove on.
We
Depends
also
on how he was wearing the glove.
Okay.
we also do find out that his nickname could be Frankenweenie if we wanted it to be,
Yeah.
because apparently he implies that has also been replaced and
Oh,
modified.
I totally missed that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, hang around and you'll find out.
Hang around another 30 seconds and I'll let you know.
It's got a pull cord that starts it,
Wait, what movie did we do where that was the scene? We did a movie with that.
where there's a pull cord.
Yes.
Oh, I think we talked about it.
I was
Armed
in
and
it.
Dangerous, maybe.
No.
No, you had a frayed starter cable.
It was
The frayed
in a-
starter cable,
It was in a movie we did.
where a guy's
He was the bad guy. and he was
Apparatus
really-
You're thinking of Wild Wild West.
No, I'm not. I did this movie.
Maybe
I
you
don't
did
know.
it with your other
Post-apocalyptic.
podcast.
Are you talking about
the bad
Robojocks with the chainsaw dong on the
No, what's the
robot?
one we did with Mick Jagger?
There's a lot of penises in
Chainsaw
this show,
Dog
guys.
was good. I like
Free
that.
Jack had a guy that started his
No, it's
penis
not
with a
Free Jack.
ripcord.
It's the one we did. Tank Girl. Who's the bad guy in Tank Girl?
He had a ripcord wiener.
Who's the Tank Girl guy? Who's the bad guy in that?
That was Malcolm McDowell. He had
No,
his
it
head was
wasn't him.
gone.
This show is trash at gmail.com.
Maybe this is a movie I watched on my own.
Must be. Please
I
let us know.
swear, I
if you know.
swear
the
there's
show,
a
though.
movie where that's the case.
Listeners, if you know of a post-apocalyptic movie where a guy's got a ripcord wiener, please email the show at this show is trash.
We did
at
this movie. I
gmail.com.
know we did.
Attention, Charles.
Attention, Charles. Please send it to Charles.
What movie
immediately.
was this?
I don't know. We gotta move on. All right. So the race resumes, and it starts off. You'll be happy about this, Charles. Frankenstein kills the deacon to start off day two.
The Stephen Fry looking guy who also was like Magneto.
Deacon guy.
Magneto.
I was like, that's what I wrote in my notes. I was like, Pope Magneto Stephen Fry. What he looks like.
Right. And I love right after that, he's like, no, you can't score. Or Stallone's like, no, you can't score religious personalities. And I'm like, oh, well, that's good to know for Charles. All right. That you'd be safe if death
That's
race
true.
ever
Well,
happened.
but they
wait,
changed the
But
rules.
they changed the rule.
And then they're like killing all their help and everything.
They're like, oh, and the media seems pissed off about it. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
but then now they're just going to be killing race officials left and
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And it's, right. This is right after this where the fan that had gone up to him steps out
Oh,
of the
that's
road
right.
and sacrifices
That's
herself.
right. And Frankenstein runs her over. And there's like this moment where Annie's like, oh, I don't know if I can love him because he killed her. And
Why
he
did
said-
she do that?
Yeah.
He said something like
She did it to show how much she loved me.
that.
Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
Speaking
Got a
of
little
more
somber there, right?
Yeah. Speaking of more idiots in the street, we got the chicken gang. These
Oh my
dudes that were
gosh.
just coming in and out of the manholes.
What?
Yeah.
Remember those
Yeah.
guys?
That was
was
so
good stuff.
stupid.
This is one of my favorite
He
scenes.
closes the manhole on the third
This is
guy.
my favorite scene in the movie.
Why does he
man.
close the manhole on that guy?
Because he's a jerk.
Because he looked up at him for a
gives him-
second.
I
And
don't
gave him
know.
the, like, yeah.
F you. They didn't like that guy.
I guess they're like, hey Tony, you want to come out for drinks later? He's like,
Yeah.
oh, these guys are my friends now. And then
Hey, I'm
they-
going to win this game. They probably had a bet on who was going to do it.
And they meticulously
Yeah.
laid it out. They're like, Tony, remember, you jumped third.
No, it was a
you
game
know how
of
to count
chicken.
that high?
It was like it's like a game of rodeo poker. You know, the rodeo clowns sit down and the bull gets let go, and then it's who can sit at the poker table the longest.
You think
before the
that's what
bull
that
goes
was?
up. Yeah, I think
Oh,
that's what
okay.
they're playing.
So
But then you
They're literally
screw
playing
the last
chicken.
guy.
Well, they did that because F that guy.
this is your favorite
Like
scene
if
in
we
the
were
whole
out
movie?
there with somebody we didn't like, Ryan.
Hey,
Or it's like Ryan would be the third guy.
Right.
You wouldn't even get into the manhole, Clint.
I know. That's what would plug them in. Like I would go second, and then like you wouldn't be able to
Clint's in the
go.
way.
You would step on my head. Like, yeah.
This was your favorite scene in the movie?
It was pretty good.
It's pretty
This made
funny.
me chuckle pretty
It's
good.
pretty
Yeah.
funny. Like that
It's-
whole scene is really
Like
funny.
this scene, legitimately, some of the Stallone stuff and the hand grenade thing coming up that make this movie
Yeah.
the best comedy ever.
there's another scene, but
All right, it's not-
We'll get to it.
But that's what makes this movie a comedy for me.
Yeah.
While they're at the pit stop, Annie gave Joe, aka Stallone, some bad information about a detour or a shortcut. And
Yeah.
so he ends up 45 minutes off the pace from everybody and ends up chasing a fisherman into a riverbed.
And I love it. Carries his fish and his pole as he's running.
This idiot fisherman's like, "Oh man, you're my favorite racer. I got posters of you in my room, man. Every time we're always like, whoa, Frankenstein, we love him." So I'm like, dude, you're a dead man, brother.
well, he tells him that he can't get across that gorge either.
Yeah.
And then he proceeds to jump into the
Jump-
gorge
yes,
and
and
run to
run.
the shallowest
Yes.
part of it so he can drive down into it by him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense.
Didn't. And when I thought he was going to wreck his car, he like drove off
Yeah.
the embankment.
Right.
There was
To
a
come
few
down and
scenes
get
where
him.
I thought like they probably had to rebuild the car after.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, they're
don't know.
Volkswagens. The car's gonna live. But like, legitimately, this guy did whatever he could to make it easier for this. I mean, they hand cranked this film, sped up the footage. These cars were going
Oh,
a
yes.
trillion miles an hour in every scene, and it's
Oh,
like
for sure.
there's points where they say in this movie the cars didn't even run; they pushed them down the hill.
Yes, I saw that
They
too.
pushed
Oh,
them down the hill
serious?
for
They
some
didn't
of the
run.
stuff.
They
Yes.
didn't
There were a lot of scenes where you could tell it's fast forward where the heads are like,
yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
bobbling
Oh, yeah.
around.
Well, you know, you can tell the turns because they're like
Yeah.
perfectly going around the curves, like if they were going that fast. Here's some interesting trivia: David Carradine would not wear leather, apparently,
Right.
so his outfit is made out of something else,
Oh, well, then we can't keep calling it the GIMP outfit.
another
then.
fabric.
That looks just
This
like
I
leather.
thought was one of the funniest things I've read on IMDb in a long time.
Oh, please.
The role of Frankenstein was originally offered to Peter Fonda, who considered the film too ridiculous for words and turned down the role.
Oh, Peter Fonda
Can you
said
imagine?
no? If that had been Peter Fonda, oh.
I can imagine Peter Fonda looking at the script going, "What the? Who are these people? Why are they disgracing my name, even handing me this piece
So
of
that's the
crap
thing. I love that
script?"
whoever wrote it was like, give this to Peter Fonda. Give it to Peter
Well,
immediately.
you can Carradine's great value Peter Fonda, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Charles, your movie is called Space Truckers, and my Google history will never be the same.
Space Truckers.
That's what it was. Space Truckers.
Well, we haven't done it yet. It's on the list. We talked about it
I
in a
watched
mailbag.
it. I watched it.
Oh,
That's
we haven't
it.
done it though.
Because, like, legitimately, I just looked up
Yes, I
post-apocalyptic
knew it was
movie
on
with
there.
pull cord wiener. So my search history is screwed from now on.
You're gonna get the weirdest ads on Facebook.
I knew I had seen it. Thank you for helping me because I'm going, I hope this isn't some weird dream I've had.
Amazon's going to give me some weird recommendations now.
Super
Oh,
weird.
that's a great movie. I want to do that movie.
Well, it's on the list. We'll
All
see. All right, Annie tries to get
Space Truckers.
because Annie's a plant.
I'm sorry. That's my fault.
Annie is trying to get Frankenstein into this ambush because they want to replace him with a
Yes.
different Frankenstein.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
It's really bad, the Frankenstein guy.
But he ends up just literally just driving through this flaming like
With
blockage
tank
in the road.
traps and
And the-
everything. Just
Fake
flopping.
Frankenstein's like, hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
get out of here,
And then
dude.
she's
Run
like,
away.
Annie, is that you?
Like, hey,
and
yeah.
then Annie's like,
Annie's like, shut up, stop waving at me.
Go away.
"You're blowing it, man."
This
Yeah,
is
and
the
I give you
guy-
the signal like we're dead.
No, I was agreeing with you.
So funny.
And so I think he starts to get onto her because then he makes her drive.
Yes, he made
Yep.
me drive.
And again, What is Tire Kid doing in the street?
Plus 1970, 2000, we're still playing with stick and tires.
Stick and tire thing. I'm like, bro,
It'd be really hard to roll a tire with that kind of tire with a stick.
you know what day it is.
I got some extra tires. I should try that.
Try it out. Don't do it on
workout.
Death
I
Race
remember
Day.
Old World, Wisconsin. They talked about the tire.
Yeah, we did
stick
that.
Thing, yeah,
We did that there.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big giant tire though.
no, it'd be hard to do it with.
Well, she
a
refuses to
full
run over Tire Kid, and she's like, "Oh, I missed." But she like yanked the wheel
She
around the
went
tree.
hard left around a tree.
I
darted
missed
right.
around this 200-year oak tree.
It's hard at first.
And so she outs herself to him. She admits, right, I'm a plant,
right.
and he just starts laughing, which we don't know yet why. We find out a little bit later, but he just starts laughing. Meanwhile, Matilda, the swastika sweetheart, scores Jane's navigator, who's underneath the
No one
car.
runs over my navigator, scores my navigator.
He's like half hanging off under the car. He's trying to fix it, whatever, and she just rips down the road and just runs him over.
It should have been more graphic.
And then yells Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg. Jane doesn't seem to care about this navigator at all. She's mad that she scored a navigator, but she's not like for 1 second, and she's like, "Oh, Joe," or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
She's like, "Whatever," chases him. And this is when Matilda dies. And I gotta say, Matilda's death when she fell for the old Wile E. Coyote special.
I literally was like, what is happening in this movie?
I do have to say, whatever he was repairing was not that critical.
no, not that part.
Because he died and the car still ran fine.
That was what I was wondering.
Think about that.
Fine.
Like, is there going to be a big oil streak behind her? Or
The
something?
rest of the movie, she was fine. That car.
That's true. That's a good.
He
point.
did say he was almost finished with it.
Oh, okay. He just
One more
had to.
bolt.
He just had to clean and polish
Right,
it
it's like,
right on the last turn of the
that
of
last
the ratchet.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
with his crescent
the
wrench.
splash
'Cause
plate.
we
That's all he's
often,
putting up.
as a navigator and professional mechanic, you're under a car with a crescent wrench a lot.
I had, I was
Is this
like,
before or
no.
after the scene where Frankenstein makes Andy climb over the back of the car while they're driving?
No, so can we talk about that? This is way back before. He's trying to test her out. He's like, "We get back there and,
What's
and
wrong with this motor?"
retard that spark
Retard
3 degrees." I'm
Is
like,
that
I'm like, that's not a real thing.
what do they
That's-
call those?
No,
It
it's
is.
not.
Yeah, it's called what the
Distributor-
distributor cap.
Yeah.
you
I
would
thought it was
adjust
fake.
it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
Cuddle,
actually-
cuddle that fiddler cap.
Yeah, I was like,
degrees.
I was like, dongle the switch on the
Like the power
starter
coupler type
cable.
thing or the whatever. All the science fiction.
the rotary
shows.
encabulator.
I straight up thought it was made up.
No, that's
jargon.
real.
It's real.
That's real. You
Yeah.
can do that.
Okay, fine.
But like legitimately 3 degrees
Now,
at cruise, like
You
he's
you
doing,
cannot do that
retarding.
anymore, except maybe on some of Clint's cars.
Yeah, and you shouldn't
I
say
can
the
do it
word.
with the computer.
You shouldn't
so, yeah.
say retard anyway anymore. It's
So you
just,
could say it in,
No,
in that
it's an
context.
actual
But, you know.
thing you're doing.
But
I
they used to
know,
have
but
the
it's-
spark
it's offen-
system.
it's
There was a
offensive.
distributor cap. You probably heard of that, but they don't have
it-
distributor caps anymore. It's all
What's the thing?
Advance and retard. That's
yeah,
a thing.
fancy.
Oh,
Like that's actually you're advancing the timing or retarding.
Right, but why don't we just call it advancing because
And then
retard is offensive.
unadvancing, advancing in a different direction.
Devancing.
I think we're gonna get demonetized because I've said retard
Yeah,
4
you're the
times.
one that's going into
but
it.
we're not talking about.
Just saying. These AIs, they just hear the
sorry.
word and
Okay,
they're like,
sorry, just bleep.
I'm sorry, my ignition timing was advanced challenged.
But it sounds like schmishmorshin. Okay,
But yeah, he makes him climb back there like he's R2. She's R2D2 while they're
right?
flying and fix the car.
all right.
I don't know how
so
she held on.
But
Yeah,
then he
seriously,
throttles it.
Matilda-
Carradine and going fast.
I want to be clear on this other thing because it's important to me. Matilda, we said she had the Wile E. Coyote, but what they really did was they built a cardboard cutout of an archway,
Yeah,
A
what
train
was that?
tunnel.
a train tunnel,
With the
road
black
tunnel.
curtain.
with a black
Yeah.
curtain in front.
I'm like, why would that even be?
And they just put a detour. I'm not kidding when I say it's Wile E. Coyote. It's straight out of Chuck Jones's playbook here.
I was like, what kind of Looney Tunes? bull-
And then right off the edge of a cliff and detour sign.
Why
There's
would
not
you-
even a
and then-
road.
Her reaction shot was like,
And why
She's
if
like,
you're in a car?
right now, really?
And why would a car, if you're in a car, you go through a wall with a curtain? That'd be like
yeah.
the last place I would want to drive my car would be through that.
and it's like bright daytime.
Wow,
daylight.
what a dark tunnel!
It's like a
I'm
really
tunnel
long
through.
tunnel.
A tunnel into nothing.
Is that what it's supposed to be? A tunnel, maybe?
Yes, because
Yeah,
it
it's
looked
supposed to
just
be a
like
tunnel
the tunnel
because they had like an
before.
arch, and they were going through those tunnels as they led up to it.
All right, we're in our second pit stop in Albuquerque, where Stallone is hilariously eating this clam
Dude,
sauce.
Yeah, why
Slam
was this
sauce
all
is
of his
so gross.
fingers in his mouth?
He's got the white sauce all over him, and he's
I
just
thought it was whipped cream.
slinging it across the room. There's something else going on here.
It's hilarious. And Stallone's like, I've been racing for 10 years and nobody talks to me like that. I stop playing this music.
Yeah,
Morons. People are trying to talk to him, and he just, he made me laugh.
I
so
thought
many
it was
times.
whipped cream, and then I Googled IMDb, and it was
sauce.
clam sauce.
He even said
I thought it was mashed potatoes.
At the
and he's
very
like, here's
end.
the clam sauce and throws it
and
on the
then
guy.
like
Just
anytime you want, I
skadoosh.
can have your kid. Well, I got the clam sauce. Whap right in his face.
I mean,
gross.
covered in of all
What
the
do you
things
eat
you want to
with
be
clam
covered
sauce?
in. Clam sauce, not it. He wasn't eating anything with clam sauce. He was just
dipping
eating
his
clam
fingers
sauce.
in it?
Sucking it off.
He
his
was just like,
fingers.
That must have been the second take, and what was all over him was from the first
From the first
Maybe
splash. That's probably what it
Why
was.
was it on his face and his fingers? It's just so
and then
weird.
he's just rolling with it.
This
like,
nobody
yeah,
told him.
just
They didn't have
sloppy.
money.
Nobody
for a
told
retake.
him. He
They
finds
didn't have
out
money for a retake.
when he saw the movie. He's like,
What
they
are you
didn't.
guys doing? I got clam sauce all over my face.
Oh, you guys got to tell me. They didn't have a script or a continuity supervisor, I'm
Right.
guessing. So that's probably exactly what happened.
Well, but
They took a second take
Yeah.
on it to fix it up, but then there was no film in the.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
the race officials are here, and they're because the racers. There's only 3 left. They're starting to complain about the resistance, and you guys should have gave us an escort, and we should have been protected and all this. And they're like, no, it's the French, and they're trying to spin it. And Joe is not having it. Nobody's having
No,
it.
Joe's
Yep.
unhappy.
They're just like, this is ridiculous.
More caffeine for Charles. Stat.
caffeine.
I need
For
it.
Charles
I'm dying out.
And right after this dinner meeting, Stallone follows Annie into the garage to kill her.
Basically.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. He's
Yeah.
gonna choke her.
All right.
He starts to choke the life out of her.
Starts to choke the life out of her. David Carradine. Kung Fu himself.
That's right.
Walks through the door. Oh, hey, I caught her fooling with your car. I was trying to, it's like, oh,
I
yeah,
didn't mean
really.
nothing, Frankie.
Rambo, or not Rambo, Rocky. All right.
right.
We've got a year before Rocky. This guy should know how to box a little. We have the worst fight.
It's pretty
I'm
awkward.
sorry.
It
This
was pretty
is
awkward,
a
especially the beginning.
Terrible freaking fight between these guys.
They should have cut about 5 seconds on that first shot where it's a longer take. And you can see him trying to, no, it's not time to punch yet. No, wait. And it was like kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Once I got into it, it was okay. Yeah, it wasn't a great fight scene.
Well, I was never convinced that Frankenstein was hitting home enough to do the damage he was doing.
Right.
No.
I think what didn't help with this whole scene and a lot of the scenes in this movie was the music made no sense. They had some jazz scene
Yes.
during this fight, and it's like,
Well, because I think none of it was made for the movie. I'm assuming
Yeah.
that a lot of it was they had to use what they could get their hands
Music,
on.
Yeah.
it was crazy. It was
It didn't make any sense.
bonkers. This whole movie with the music,
was
none of
great.
it made sense.
What does make sense is David Carradine beating up Sylvester Stallone in a fight is what doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kung Fu, man.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Joe
but-
was mostly bark.
But he's
Viterbo.
Stallone.
Joe Viterbo. No, he's
This
not.
is like the last fight he lost
He's
on
not
film,
Stallone
except for
till
Clubber
the next-
Lang.
He's not Stallone till Rocky.
All right,
And
that's fine.
I mean, he's still Stallone.
Yeah.
I
Played
get
a
what
very
you're saying.
Born
stereotypical
Stallone.
Italian guy, but
But yeah.
Yeah.
he's not a good
He's just some thug from Chicago. So I get it.
Frankenstein takes Annie back to the hotel room for sex stop number 2, and before that happens, he outs himself to her now, so he's starting to share and basically says that he's, the next Dread Pirate Roberts, right? And that so much that like in Princess Bride, it's just the name that gets passed along, and it's actually a new guy every year. It's being
Sure.
Frankenstein,
Yeah.
Right.
because it's a government plant, supposedly, like they're trained by the government,
Yeah.
so they can win.
That's right.
And the
Frankenstein's
government can control the race, so to speak.
Pretty much.
So they're like brought up to be the greatest racers in the world.
Propaganda to control the masses.
Exactly. So it's all an act.
Yes.
When he's walking all weird at the beginning and all that stuff, it's all just an act. It's not even the same guy every year.
Yes. And they're blaming the French. They officially blame the French.
That's right.
The drivers' deaths.
But here we get to the best of all 3 race
Are you
days.
meaning the government lied to the population
No.
about what was actually happening?
Did. Can you believe it? That would never happen now in 2022.
Yeah, they really missed the
They missed
mark
that
on
in
2000.
75. They thought
Yeah.
we'd be all controlled by government propaganda.
It's ridiculous. Nobody believes what they see on TV.
Entertainment
We
would
might
be
wanna cut
controlling
all
our
of
lives.
Just not you.
Oh, wait. I got to check my TikTok real quick.
We need other Ryan here right now.
Oh, that's true. He could help us out with that.
All right, so we get to day 3, which in my estimation was the best of the 3 race days. And it starts off with maybe my favorite line of dialogue in the entire movie. Stallone and Mary are driving along, and she makes some kind of smart mouth comment to him, and he just goes, some people might think you're cute, but I think you're one very large baked potato.
Yeah.
I literally had to pause it because I was laughing so hard. Like, who calls somebody a baked potato is the best insult ever.
Marge Simpson likes baked potatoes.
What's that?
Marge Simpson really likes potatoes.
Does she?
She thinks they're neat.
What?
Okay.
What's
wrong with you?
I mean, you hear someone say potato. I'm like, oh, I know an actor in another show that likes potatoes.
Marge Simpson's not an
Not in
actor that
that
plays.
Oh, wait.
My-
Simpsons are real? What are you talking about?
My dad used to say his favorite actor is Barney Rubble, and I'm like, you understand that's not a person, right?
James, the Simpsons are real. They've been around for 35 years. They're real people.
Okay.
But I did think of that.
They do predict the future.
Thing.
Yes, and so Jane is the first one to get killed on day 3. She's
Do 7,000 shows, you're bound to get a few right.
That's what I'm saying.
she's jumped. So these 2 bikers ride up and jump into Jane's car.
Yep.
And she's wrestling with them, and they had planted this mine. There's one singular mine. I'm like, oh, you really needed to drive over this one spot. And they wrestle her car off the
A
road.
dramatic scene, though.
And she,
was?
it was dramatic. And
It
she
had good build up. Yeah.
skids up just next to the
Yeah.
to the mine.
Yeah.
And she's able to,
maybe.
yeah, she's able to kill the guys. Okay.
Just the car had more turn radius.
And the car, she pulls forward. No, it's not enough. Got it back. She starts doing a 20-point turnaround.
She did
Yeah.
not need to make that second take at that
You think-
U-turn. I
You
mean,
think
the car
she's
made
gonna
it.
make
No.
it? You think she's gonna make it? I'm hoping because Calamity
No.
Jane. Unlike you, I think.
But she
she's
proves
attractive.
yet again
Hey,
that women
Calamity
are.
Jane.
I just said she looked like a dude.
Oh,
She proves yet again women are
attractive
terrible
dudes.
driving it backwards. And backs over
Right here.
and blows herself up.
Yeah.
oh,
Sorry.
Calamity.
So now we're down.
Is she the one that
Two.
Grace Pander says she was a great dear friend of mine, and I shall remember her forever, howling down that freeway in the sky, knocking over
Yeah.
the angels.
Yeah, it's just so sweet. She was kind of nice right before the beginning of day 3. She went up to each car.
She
She's
went up
like,
to 'em.
best of luck to you. And
I've enjoyed racing.
I've enjoyed. And then Frankenstein's like, thank you. And Joe's like, save it. All right. I don't want to hear it.
We don't want none of you.
Get out of here.
I just realized that lady's name is Pander.
Pander. Is that her name?
Grace Pander.
Okay. That sounds
Maybe
about
they're
right.
suggesting they're pandering to the masses in this show.
Could be.
I think
Or
maybe.
it's just her name.
just her name.
Frankenstein then somehow has some kind of supernatural premonition that an attack is coming. So he gives drugs to Annie to knock her unconscious.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like in his thermos. He like fakes drinking. Oh, this is good.
Why does he have sleep?
That was such a dumb fake too. He's like,
It was good stuff.
Pass it to her. She's out immediately.
What
Yeah, it's
flavor is
some
For
back end.
exactly
Vanilla.
30 minutes, 7 seconds.
And then
Vanilla. She does say that, doesn't she?
they get
It's not
attacked.
vanilla.
They get attacked, but they get attacked by a freaking airplane.
Yes, which
Starts dive bombing them.
interesting tie into another movie, Aces, Iron Eagle 3. The airplane from that movie was
the
made by
canards?
Burt Rutan, and the
Okay.
airplane in this movie was also made by Burt Rutan.
Oh.
This one was
interesting.
called Vari or Very.
Okay.
It's
Vegan.
interesting that
Vari
they were both
Vegan.
canard planes.
Yes, so he was very big into
I was
this.
amazed they had the money to do this. I mean, that thing was
Yeah.
getting flying over and low above that
And
car.
I loved how I think they had both jet and propeller sounds on that plane. 'Cause it sounded like a jet, and then it was a propeller because it had actual propeller, not a jet.
Yes.
and when they were attacking, they'd fly over and then the shots would hit. So it was
Right.
like it was a bomber,
Yes.
but it was supposed to be bullets.
But it was
And
supposed to
it
be
had
bullets.
very many
It's dropping
invisible
bullets.
bombs.
It's just
Yes.
dropping bullets on them.
Because it
Oh,
had
okay.
They weren't shooting them at all.
yes, apparently it had invisible weaponry because there was
Okay.
none on the wings.
There's
that
not-
got things
This is
kept
the year 2000,
exploding.
guys, okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they're all
Stealth
inside the
bombs.
fuselage.
Future
Yes.
now.
It was
Stealth
a
bombs.
different kind of stealth bomber
Cloak-
altogether.
Cloaked bombs.
This guy.
Are you having problems over there? I think you're getting shorter.
I'm playing with this wire because I don't want to.
The other really weird thing that's happening at the same time is Frankenstein's getting dive bombed. They've set up all these off-road bombs.
Yep.
But how did they know?
No, those
that
were
Joe-
supposed to be his bombs. Aren't they, from the plane?
He literally had a plunger and
Oh,
like boom,
that's right.
boom. And every time Joe is like barely missing things, I'm like, he's not even on the road. How would they know? And he's just like, I knew exactly where he was going to drive.
I think they put all of those out there and they were guessing which one to use. And there were always just one behind.
They were like right at the worst timing because it was right next to him
Right,
every
just-
time.
Just go, wait a second. And then do the next
Yeah.
one. Just like break your timing.
Wait, on 3 or 3?
Are we going on 3 or on
Seriously.
3 go?
1, 2, 3, go. The plane crashes and it's announced on the radio that Frankenstein kicked the French Air Force's ass.
That's right. They got the French Air
Just
Force.
And the plane randomly flew into the wall,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
cliff. Like
Yep.
it was just like,
He gave up. He's like, I can't kill him.
I'm out of invisible bombs.
How much of that? Yeah. How much of that was their budget? You think?
That plane?
Half.
Yeah.
At least half.
298.
Yeah.
Judging by the quality of the rest.
Everything else was free. So after she realizes he knocked her out to escape this last attack, she's finally decided Annie is done and just starts to yank his wheel, trying to pull the car off of a cliff.
not a
and
euphemism.
Kill them both. No, she's trying to yank the steering wheel and steer the car off a cliff. And they have this whole struggle, right, where they're like almost having a fight.
Yeah.
And he's almost going off, but he finally stops the car. And after this big fight, it's the weirdest scene, the way they shot and acted this. He just gets out and calmly walks to the cliff's edge, almost to be like, this is a good spot for an emotional scene.
I'm looking for my line.
Wasn't there like long distance shot too, where you see him out on the cliff,
Yeah.
beautiful sunset?
Like below the cliff, they had all of the lines written down so he could read them
Yeah,
if he was
you
close
can look
enough.
down.
I'm like, you just were having this massive fight. And like, just walk over here. She comes over and joins him, and they have this emotional scene.
And he's like, no, I'm with you.
Right. He's like, the whole point is I want to kill the president. I've been waiting to shake his hand with this.
And that was the greatest
that a
event
grenade?
in the history of the movies.
Is that a grenade?
It's a hand
It's my
grenade.
hand
And there's a
grenade.
grenade implanted in his hand. It was such amazing.
Literal hand
Yes.
grenade.
I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
This
I'm-
cemented this as a solid comedy right there.
I am very slow because this is the first inkling I had in this movie that they were not earnest. And I was rethinking the
You
last
were
75
like
minutes of my
7-year-old
life.
me.
I was like,
Traumatized by the violence.
what cues did I miss as a watcher of this movie?
How
as
many
an
times
audience
did you
member?
watch this?
I only got to see it once. in
How are we
full.
supposed to not laugh? Okay. When he raises, he's like this, and it's like a mannequin hand in the frame, and it's got half of
grenade?
it's a grenade sticking into the hand.
My hand
And it's
grenade.
silver, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hand
Silver.
grenade.
And the grenade is silver. It all looks plastic.
It's like they dipped it. Yeah.
They just dip the whole
That
thing in
was so
spray paint.
hilarious. I love that scene.
So his plan is to shake the president's hand with his hand grenade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blow himself
Not
up.
not a hand grenade, a
And it
hand
even
grenade.
it even had a pin in it, didn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
she pulls it later.
So how's he gonna shake the hand with the pin inside the glove?
I don't know.
Set
Maybe.
it off.
Yeah.
And how does he
Either-
release the
It was a
lever?
really plan.
I didn't think
Wasn't
it
a
through.
well-engineered hand grenade, okay? But it ends up being used 2 minutes later because they're finally like, all right, we're on the same team. We're going to finish this race. And they get back in the car. And Joe and him have this big fight with their cars.
And initially, it's just like, all right, now here's the end. We've got our points. We got what we got. We need to get there first. And
Yes.
they are just driving sped up footage for the ages.
Oh, for sure.
Some of the greatest country road driving scenes ever. And then they're
And Joe's
all
kind of
a-
winning. Like, he's beating him up
Yeah.
pretty
Well,
good.
He's definitely catching. Joe's out
Yes.
front, but he's definitely being caught. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Frankenstein's catching up easily, coming up there, everything, and then they get close, and
Annie.
Joe pulls out the sweetest maneuver ever
Yes.
with the oil slick.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. I forgot
The
about
oil
He's got
slick.
oil
Old
slick
spy
on his
hunter.
car.
the old spy
Yes.
hunter
Yes.
oil
Yeah.
That was good. I like that.
Frankenstein goes spinning off the road over
Yep.
here, regains control, gets going. They get back together. They're wheel to wheel, side to side now. And they can't figure out, like, they're crashing into each other and everything.
Yeah.
They're going to die and crash. She pulls his hand off. Like, give it to me. Give
Give
it
me
to
the hand grenade.
She throws the hand grenade into Joe's car.
Pulls the pin,
Oh,
chucks it in there, and blows up Stallone and
his
Mary.
girlfriend or driver's so stupid.
Yeah. It's a hand. It's a hand.
Oh, they could have easily
They
got
didn't
it
know
out
what
of
it was.
there.
They could have thrown
5
it back.
minutes later, it's a hand.
It's like bouncing between her hands. Then
Yeah.
it's on the floorboard. She's pressing it up further
He
into
has
the
time to
floorboard.
pull
I can't
over.
believe Annie didn't, like, burn that thing off for 5 or 6 seconds before she tossed it. Like, she wasn't trained in hand grenade.
She doesn't
usage.
know how to use. Well, she might know how to use hand grenades, but not hand grenades.
Oh, is that what it is?
Right?
It was throwing her off too. A
That's a little bit different.
little freaky.
All right, let's talk about this finale. So, because this is a little bit convoluted. Annie, here's how they're crossing the finish line. They're the only racers left, so they've won. And the
President's
winner
giving
gets to
a
meet
great
the president, which is the whole reason that Frankenstein wanted to win so bad. He rolls up here, and Frankenstein gets out of the car, but it's Annie disguised as Frankenstein.
Oh, what the heck?
Yep.
But right as Annie as Frankenstein is going to shake the president's hand, Thomasina shoots her from the crowd.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
did Annie
Great-grandma.
know that someone was going to try to assassinate Frankenstein, and that's why she did that?
I don't think so. I think that was a failsafe.
Yeah. And she gets shot, right? And
Yeah.
like, oh my God, they pull the face off. They find out it's not Frankenstein.
It's a girl.
Yeah.
In
But-
a
but-
tight leather suit and you couldn't tell.
Because Carradine's body type is about like Annie's.
Okay, that's fair.
He's missing a couple things.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if Tomasino is there, why not just shoot the president?
Yeah,
That-
seriously.
yeah.
Why
That's a
are
fair
you shooting Frankenstein?
Maybe she sucks at shooting.
Yeah.
Maybe she tried.
Grandma, put the gun
it-
down. You didn't
was it
pass
actually the
your
grandma
firearm
that shot
test.
him?
Yes. And the whole reason is that they were trying to kill the president. So I'm like, there's your chance.
Did she miss?
Confusing.
Maybe.
They
We don't
made it seem like they were trying to kill.
It seemed very intentional that then Frankenstein was going to run his car into the platform.
Yeah. Well, then at that point, Frankenstein like scooches up. He's naked and he's in his black undies.
Yeah, probably.
And he's still in the car. There he is, and he just guns it
Runs
straight
right
to the
through the stage,
platform,
man.
and just kills the president.
I'm not sure how running this little car under the stage kills the president at all. I can't figure it out.
The president just splayed out
I
on
mean,
the
a
hood.
Volkswagen
been-
Bug with fiberglass isn't going to take
It might
down
have been the fiberglass stegosaurus freaking fin up the back.
had to
Just
be it.
sawed the president's shoe in
right.
half and then he died.
That's right. It's like
Achilles
the
heel.
it's like the Nemo from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Robot jocks.
Yeah.
Or Nemo submarines.
It's like that. And then the cuts and the cut here is so fast. I got whiplash from it.
All right,
Yeah.
they
Just like-
should have ended the movie right there.
Yep.
And now it's like, hello, Mr. President, and here's David Carradine,
Yes.
and now he's the president. I'm like,
Yes.
is that how you become the next president? You just
Guess
run
so.
over the current president?
I think so.
Is
Yeah.
that how that's supposed to work?
Average
you're-
president runtime is 38 minutes.
You married
it's
your
literally-
your navigator.
They're getting
Yep.
married, but it was so jarring
Yeah.
that they're just like, Mr. President, hello.
Hey, how often do we complain
dun.
about long movies on this?
I mean,
they're
I get
just
it.
like,
True.
hey, we don't need a lot of exposition or other things here. Let's just get to the point.
What are you going to do as president? And he's just like, we're getting, presidents coming back to America. We're getting rid of minority privilege, whatever the heck that
Whatever
means. I
that
don't even
was,
want to
yeah.
dive into it. The race is being abolished, right? And other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So everything they wanted.
Everything that they wanted.
Except
and
that
then-
he kills someone in
Except Junior Bruce is like, it's the race, man.
the race.
Because the one guy's like, stop, it's not worth it. He's like, it's the race. You don't understand. It's the race.
It's the race.
And he's don't stand in front of Frankenstein's car.
He runs him over.
Yeah.
No one's happy.
First thing the president does, he's in office. President killed a guy. Did you see that? He just ran somebody
I mean,
over.
old habits die hard.
And he
You know.
promoted the grandmother or great grandmother to defense
Defense secretary or whatever that was.
What was Annie at that point?
wife,
the first lady?
first lady.
But she had
And-
another job, didn't she?
Did she? I don't know.
The grandma was like, first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all these resistances. And it's like, you are the resistance, lady.
No, the people that were resisting the resistance.
That's right. Now they're
They've
the
gotten
people.
too good at resisting.
Yeah,
that
they
they've
like
been
their
resisting
privilege.
the resistance.
Maybe
They
they were the
became the man.
minority privilege, were the rich people or something, or the
It's
people
easy to
that
be
run
like
the race.
It's easy to be like the group that's like, damn the man, but then
the non-women.
you become the man, and then now they're the resistance, right?
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yes.
Well, what did you guys think? I got two questions.
Please.
So my first question is, what did you guys think of the announcer guy that was supposed to be mimicking like a really famous announcer guy?
What was he? What was that Cronkite he was trying to do? or
No,
what
it was
he?
some sports guy, but he was
I thought you were
like,
talking about the news.
had
Was
guy.
that the
The news
third
guy was-
yeah, the
announcer guy?
second news guy that was
The guy
there
who
with
had
the lady Grace
too much
Pander.
Botox apparently
Yeah,
because he
that
couldn't
guy.
laugh. He's like,
Yeah, his voice. Yeah, exactly. His face was like he
couldn't
never
move his face.
changed. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't very memorable because I don't
Yeah.
remember him.
My second question is, which one was your favorite car?
Ooh.
The
It's gotta
dinosaur
be-
car is cool. I thought it was a Corvette like you
I did think
when I was younger, but it was
Yeah.
definitely not.
Stallone drove a knife car
Stallone's cars, they're all
with
cool. I
gun
like 'em.
headlights. Come on.
No, they're
yeah, I
all,
was
It had the
thinking
Rambo
Stallone's.
knife
Yeah.
sticking out the
I
front.
liked Matilda the Huns because she had it was a carbon gear for
the
one
buzz
thing,
bomb,
which
yeah.
was cool, and it had like
It was cool.
It had the bomb.
Yeah, hers-
it had like
they were all
the,
pretty cool.
it had the pulse jet on
Yeah,
it.
pulse
except for
jet on the
Nero's,
back.
yeah.
What was
Nero's was
I don't
kind of-
remember it.
He was there for
That
like
was the
5
Fiat,
seconds.
right? Yeah.
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 Oh, that's why it would be a Fiat because Italian. Guys.
The bull
Well, that's why he had to die so fast. It wasn't gonna run very long.
Exactly.
They got tired of pushing it. Can we get rid of Nero first? He was like going to make it to the last scene. They had to rewrite the script because his car's a piece of
Stallone
crap.
was going to die in the first scene,
Yeah,
and they switched.
yeah.
Like, guess you're the bad guy
We
now.
can't push Nero's car this whole movie, man.
Martin Cove was pissed. Yeah. What did you just ask me a second ago? I was going to answer you, and then I
Oh,
forgot.
Nero. I said Nero's car, but then I said the bull car wasn't very
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Once they did the Matador joke with the bull car, it was
It was
like,
over.
I thought
Yeah,
the eyes
that was
looked
it.
stupid on the bull.
So was this legitimately...
What was your favorite car?
I think it's a tie between the Nazi lady and Stallone's car.
Okay.
So Stallone's car wins.
So, but was this legitimately supposed to be a comedy?
They wrote.
I know they had a low budget.
They wrote it fully dark, and then they had somebody punch it up. Basically, they had somebody go back in to kind of comedy it up a bit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Okay.
I think it was a
straight on comedy.
I think it was not meant to be a comedy. It was meant to be, a race movie with comedic elements.
Yeah, they lightened it up for sure from how that it
like some dark humor.
Yeah.
It definitely seemed like they were trying to do some sort of take on, like, calling out a lot of political issues.
Yes.
Yeah, which usually these movies are an allegory.
I
for
don't
that kind
think
of
they did. I think they just did a movie, and that society saw this movie and said we could do that,
What if we did all
and they
this?
made it necessary, like Idiocracy. Same
All
thing.
right. It's time to give out some awards to Death Race. Besides the winner's circle, the wreath that Frankenstein wins for winning the race.
Yeah.
In New LA, which looked really crappy, by the way. New LA was just
I don't know if you noticed this,
the
but in
desert.
a lot of these, like on Futurama, when he gets to New LA, it's like the same thing.
Oh, is it?
Road rage and fighting and kids
Oh.
shooting each other. So, like a lot of times, New LA's and the dystopian movies are crap.
It just meant
Yeah.
they couldn't shoot in LA, and they just had to shoot this one building in the desert. And like, this is a New LA,
Yeah.
right? What do you guys think? It's like when we shot Clubless, and it's a big disc golf tournament, but we couldn't get any extras there. Like, there's supposed to be it's like the
4
National
people.
Disc Golf Tournament, right?
Like 8 people.
And so we made this thing. We wrote it into the script where the announcers like that it's spectators have been banned from this from the tournament or whatever. So it was only going to be caddies and golfers.
Right.
And I don't remember the plot reason why we had to finagle it because we couldn't have anybody there. And it's the same thing. They're like New LA, but it's one building and no one's there because they don't have anybody.
Right.
So I in the end, I'm not ripping on them. I feel their pain.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it some awards. Please bring me the head of Will Patton.
This is Did I do Will Patton?
I don't know if you did before or not. You have.
remember bringing you Will Patton's head.
Will Patton is the benchmark for
honor.
intensity in every movie he's ever been in.
Here he is.
That's right. Here he is.
Will Patton.
Will.
Will Patton. I don't know if you've ever seen The Postman. We've talked about that movie.
I love
Remember
The
the Titans.
Good movie.
All kinds of other movies that he's done. Like, he did a very underrated alien show on TNT called Falling Skies. And he
I
was
love
awesome.
Falling Skies.
He was great.
It kind of petered out at the end, but it was still
Yeah,
a great
but do you remember
show.
his character
Oh,
in
he was
it?
awesome
It was just
in that. Yeah,
fantastic.
he was.
Great stuff. Noah Wiley was okay, but I watched it for Will. Anyway, there's every movie some actor who just takes it super seriously. He's acting his butt off. He's intense throughout the entire performance, and we want to honor those people. And today, whoever that is will win the Will Patton Award for intensity. So, Ryan Mattila, we'll start with you. Who is your nominee for the Will Patton Award for intensity?
Man,
Or woman.
I like how Ryan rolls up
Yes.
in here with no notes. He just goes for
that
it.
was not
he had
intentional.
Today
special
special circumstances
This
today.
week was a week.
I'm sorry.
This is not my therapy session here.
I mean, it could be.
But he does also want to find his fourth grade teacher, right?
It's true.
The two of you.
I don't know who my 4th grade teacher was.
So we got to
Walked
find
out of
him.
my
If
mind.
you were Ryan
Barney,
You want
Mattela's
to find
fourth grade
Charles's
teacher.
fourth grade
Mrs.
teacher.
Yes.
Clark was my 3rd grade teacher.
Okay.
I lied to her about liking the Chicago Bulls when they won. Not Bulls, Bears when they won the.
I had to lie about that too.
Anyway,
Anyway,
I had a crush on
I
my
think
2nd
this-
grade teacher.
oh my God, Charles, shut up. I think I would have to give this to Junior.
Yes.
He was pretty
Junior Bruce.
on it,
All
like,
the way
brought it,
through.
man.
Every time. Every
yeah,
scene he's
up
in.
until his death. Like he was like the race has to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
I can't argue with that. Sounds like, are you going also Junior Bruce?
Junior Bruce. yeah.
Runner up would be
All right.
probably Stallone.
Number
though.
3 for Junior.
Junior Bruce.
Junior Don Steele brought it in that
Do we
movie.
have somebody playing along?
We don't have somebody playing along today, but because this was a last minute addition because we had to
that's right.
swap the movie out for the movie we were going to do because we lost that co-host, got sick. So we'll bring that one back again around. But yeah, so I had Stallone, but with 3 votes to 1, it's going to be Junior Bruce. Whoever that actor is, good for you.
Steele.
Don Steele.
Don Steele.
Don Steele wins the Will Patton
I
Award
thought he was great. Good
for
choice.
intensity.
choice.
Nice
Use that
job.
money to get a good dentist.
That's right. Use the non-cash prize that we have here. All right, it is time for the worst actor award, the Michael Dudikoff trash can full of dirt.
can.
Bring us the trash can full of dirt so that we
can.
may bestow it upon an actor of poor repute.
You got to get
we got a chair.
You got to get the
Still
official
working on
chair.
the trash can full of dirt set up here.
This is
Yeah.
the trash can full of dirt setup.
This is good. Make sure the logo
Appropriate for the trash can full
is
of dirt.
facing
Logo out, Dan Marino.
that they probably can't see.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
okay.
There you go. Can you
It's
see
sexy
anything
part of
else
it.
but the trash can?
It's fine.
One day we'll figure
Superman
this
is
out.
peering straight over the top of the trash can.
Our production value is unsurpassed
It's
in the
amazing.
industry.
Our
okay?
budget was not $300,000.
That's true.
No, it was
It's
not.
not even $300. So there you go. All right, Clint, we'll start with you.
Trash can full of dirt.
Trash can full of dirt. Who was the actor that showed they have the range of a trash can full of dirt?
I think that the stand-in wannabe Frankenstein, that guy, legitimately, like, hey, do you have him subdued? Can I get in the car yet? I don't understand what
He was pretty
doing.
bad.
That guy.
He was bad.
All right, I went with Vince Trachina, and Vince Trachina played Lieutenant Fury.
Yes, that was my
He
second.
was pretty.
Thomasina.
He wore a
That was the guy
bonnet.
with the
I know, but every scene he acted in, every line he delivered, it was
might be in
all
trouble
bad.
on
Baby
this
was
board.
bad.
It was all. He came up. He was like, "No, is the time for violence?" And I'm like, "Bro, just
We might have a problem on this board.
yeah." You got,
got a different guy.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what Ryan thinks down here. Who's your trash can full of dirt?
Sandy McCallum, Mr. President.
Mr.
I thought
President.
Mr. President was terrible. He had he was terrible. There's no emotion, nothing.
You didn't buy him as the leader of
I
the
did
free
not.
world or
He
the
got
non-free
80 million
world.
votes.
Yeah,
He did.
votes. That is pretty impressive. But
He
no,
did.
I thought Mr. President was bad.
I don't disagree with you,
Yeah, he was bad.
Ryan. Is it one of those three?
No.
See, I figured we're in trouble.
What are we gonna do? We got to
Who is
figure out a way to
yours?
break this
Well, we'll
tie.
have to talk through it. But I was gonna pick the third reporter guy who literally didn't move his face the entire time. I don't know if that was a bit though. Well, like was that?
I think it
supposed
was.
to
It
be
might be a
something?
What if it's just
His
the way he
voice
talks?
was definitely a bit because I can't remember.
'Cause
It was like there's like
Yeah.
a famous sports broadcaster that he was imitating.
It looked like he had Botox injected across his face because he literally did not move it
Or he
when
just-
he would talk.
Had a stroke that morning. Either.
Yeah,
I
on
liked
both
his
sides.
voice though.
Well, as
All right,
far
I
as
think-
breaking this tie, I was gonna say Stallone, and I changed it as we were going through.
oh
this
my
movie.
gosh,
Not
Stallone.
He didn't
I'm
do
sorry.
a bad job.
I just thought you picked Stallone.
Oh, no.
Not Stallone. The Fury.
Lieutenant Fury.
I was gonna pick Fury.
All right.
That was my half pointer.
There you go.
All right.
That
All
works.
right, that's fair.
Lieutenant Fury wins the
Sorry, Clint.
trash
Yeah,
can
is what it is.
full of dirt award, Mr. Tranquina. We're sorry. I'm sure I should say I hope you had a good time making this movie because we did not have a good time watching you. Our top three performances is the next category. This is totally subjective, whether they sucked or not. What were the three performances that you liked the most? I'll start us off this time. For me, at number 3, I had Simone Griffith, who played Annie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enjoyed her performance.
Yes.
Then I had Mary Warrenow
Yes,
as
yes,
Calamity
yes,
Jane at
yes.
number 2.
Because you
Yes.
enjoyed her performance.
Yeah, there was two aspects of her performance I
You're
particularly
reading something.
enjoyed.
You're reading something into this that I don't intend.
All right. Well, I was gonna intend.
That's fine.
But
I have
carry
a
on.
feeling we all may have a similar list.
At number 1, if you thought I was not going to say Sylvester Stallone as number 1, I mean, come on, it's Sly.
I got
Sly
you.
was my favorite, not only because he played the Stallone-ness was like, all the
Yeah.
but he was hilarious in this movie. I mean, other than when he punched his girlfriend in the face,
Yeah.
That wasn't cool.
and tried to choke that other girl
Yeah,
out.
he's
I mean,
kind
other
of
than
a
those two
misogynistic
things.
pig and violent
Aside
man.
from being a total
Yeah.
waste of space,
Yeah.
he was great.
He was awesome.
He just wanted some recognition, you guys.
He had
Everyone just
some
talked about
issues.
He's a
Frankenstein.
whiny little
Yeah.
bitch the whole time. About
think he knew?
being number 2.
Do you think he knew they were different Frankensteins every time?
I don't think he did.
And you know what
I
else
think
is
he's an
interesting
idiot.
is that Frankenstein. There was a lot of times where he was not wearing his mask in his car.
Right.
Lots of, and
but
well,
there
the
weren't cameras everywhere.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's true.
but how'd they know when they were killing people?
The radio,
Telemetry.
Oh, okay.
Real
So
time
the-
telemetry.
the space shuttle was tracking them from space.
So that's a good point. Machine Gun Joe's character really sucked at his job because he lost to so many different Frankensteins.
But he won twice. He was a 2-time winner.
Well, he was a previous survivor anyway.
Yeah.
And he did win it once.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I'm just saying.
I hear.
These are different guys he's losing to.
He's
Who's your-
different, but they're
who's your
trained
top
by the
3?
government to win races.
That's right.
All right, my
Right,
top
right.
3.
Born in a test tube like in the Matrix.
A 3 for me.
And
Ready?
in
Robo
Robot
Jocks.
Jock.
Robot jockey.
Here's my list.
Sorry.
Mary Warrenov is Calamity Jane.
There you go. All right.
Does
Number
it bother
3.
you when
Apparently,
people
as a
interrupt you,
dude,
Chuck?
she played a woman really well. Number 2, Matilda the Hun, Roberta Collins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The Nazi gets a
And
vote.
number 1, Simone Griffith is
So you
Annie.
have all three of the girls.
I wonder why. They all had wonderful performances and certain
love it.
scenes I really enjoyed. No, that's not my real list, actually. Do you want my real list? This
Yes.
is my real list.
Oh.
The real list.
Yeah. I thought that was a good bit. I thought you were doing it, and I was
I
scared.
know.
No,
I
no.
think Mary had a
Actually, here it is.
much better performance than all of them.
Number 3, David Carradine. I thought I enjoyed it.
Oh, I didn't even have him
I
near
thought
my
he
top
was fun
3.
to watch. He was goofy.
I don't get.
and
I don't get the Carradine thing, like how he's popular at all.
I don't either, but I enjoyed him in this movie.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I did have Simone Griffith as Annie. She was
Okay,
attractive.
yeah,
and
she's
she
great.
actually thought she played that role pretty earnestly.
Yeah.
Like, she carried that role. And then I have Sylvester's number 1.
Yeah,
he really was
let's
the best.
go.
He was the best actor.
Oh,
I
yeah.
enjoyed his performance the most. of all of
You see,
He carried
this
the movie.
aggravates me.
He carried the
It
movie.
was good stuff.
He had the best lines. He delivered them pretty I mean, I thought he probably was his best character
For sure.
and did it well.
Who you got, Mattila?
Yeah, I'd say, okay, when I first watched it, I didn't like Stallone in it at all.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
I don't know what it was.
He was
I
just such a whiner.
well, like I
He's
said,
such a
whiny
whiny
old movie.
twat, man. The whole
I got,
You got about 2 seconds to live.
the problem was I got
Fling some
75,
clam sauce at you.
I got 3/4 of the
sorry.
way through the movie before I realized what it was. And so that didn't help. And so thinking back on it, and even like, I think I told you like before the show, like I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, okay, this is actually a pretty decent movie.
yeah.
But watching it, I was like,
I would have
angry.
loved to watch this with you the second.
That
or
would've
third
been great.
time. That would have been.
I feel bad that you woke up thinking about this movie, actually.
But so
You've
I
been
think
thinking about it since you were 8 years old. Sorry.
I think Stallone definitely is in the top 3. I'd say he's probably number. Yeah, he'd probably be number 1, I guess.
Yeah, let's go.
Number 2 would probably be his navigator. What's her
Oh,
face?
the actress.
Yeah.
Mary?
Yeah, Mary.
That played Stallone's Navigator, or
Stallone's
yeah.
navigator.
Yeah.
Or no, not Stallone's.
Oh.
Frankenstein's
Annie. Yeah, Annie.
Yeah. Okay.
And then number 1 would probably be the pandering lady.
Oh, yeah,
I actually kinda
Jane
liked
Pander.
her. She
You
was
liked
Yeah,
funny.
she
Like,
was funny in this.
Yeah.
She played it
She
really
really
well,
was.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
She knew her part.
Well, I actually, and I probably could have honestly put Junior in there too. He really carried
he
most
did.
of the movie. As
He
far
was.
as,
He just annoyed me. That's the only reason.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
why
him
he
in
didn't
there.
make.
But I'd
But he
agree.
played his
I
part
think
well.
those are good lists.
Yeah.
Jane was.
He
good.
was kind of like Stanley Tucci in The Hunger Games, like that. If you ever saw that
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
right? But that's basically why when I saw this, and I jokingly said Suzanne Collins was one of the writers on it because it wasn't just the concept of a yearly death match,
But
but there's all kinds of little things that got
things,
pulled.
a
Yes.
lot. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, it's possible.
I
right?
would put Junior as my 3.
Okay, Junior Bruce.
Junior would be number 3. I like the performance. I think like just legitimately the fact that in 1975 you're like, this is what they're gonna dress like in 2000. You know, like, legit, he was the
Yes.
personification of this is the wardrobe.
I do think he had one of the best lines in the movie, which was at the end when he said, "It's the race, man." Like he was so serious when he
Yeah.
said that.
Love
good
the
delivery
race.
there.
Right? Yeah. Good.
I'm gonna go with Stallone for 2.
Okay.
It's not like a degradation whatsoever, but
you're just the only one
I
that
am
didn't put him
going
at 1. No
to
big deal.
Actually, say Mary, his co-driver,
Yeah.
for 2 very important reasons.
oh my god.
Like this is I'm putting her up for Bob. I
All
have
right,
to
we're
do
up
this.
for Bob.
So she bumps Stallone to
For the
2
Sherilyn
for
Fenn
Bob.
I
Award.
think this would be a hard movie for Bob to pick a Sherilyn Finn.
The
I
Sherilyn
think you
Fenn
would.
Award
Created by Bob
created
Hauser.
by Bob Hauser. Trademark.
Trademarked. Fair enough. I think
We will never forget.
we asked the question because we want to know what was the problem, what this movie missed, why is it some thought or thought by some to be bad, and so we always ask this question, right? What if? Because, and I think the reason this first came about, I was thinking about this the other day, is that a run of the first few movies we did on this podcast, there was always this trivia bit where like they wanted Stallone to be in this movie, but they couldn't get him, so they
Right.
gave it to this other person, right? And we're like, they wanted Stallone for everything for about 20 years, from the 80s to the 90s. He was always the first person
Yeah.
they called, and they obviously he can only do so many movies. And so the start of this whole thing, we're like, well, what if Stallone, or what if it started this whole thing? We're like, what if Schwarzenegger had been cast in this movie?
Right.
Would it be better? And I think this one is an easy yes.
Oh, Stallone is Carradine?
No. Arnold is
Sorry,
Carradine.
Arnie. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you
said
just
Stallone the first thing that
throw
got me.
out Carradine.
Yeah,
and
throw
you
him
have
away.
Arnold versus Stallone.
Oh my God. There'd be a fight that would work.
That would be good.
He would throw him
Yeah,
through
you're
the
right
knife
about
on
that.
the front of the car.
Right?
You're right about that. Frankenstein.
Arnold doesn't have to be the bad guy, so he can be the good guy, and it would be just, it would be
That would be
fantastic.
cool.
Alternatively, he could have been Junior.
Oh, I don't think you can
He's
put
the
him in
race
very many
man.
places that's not better.
Mr. President.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. It's time for the race.
Yeah.
Mary.
He is a politician. So
He could have been the navigator for
Could you
Stallone.
imagine?
Did you get that?
I
He
thought
does
Being a
do to do
navigator
well.
would be pretty awesome.
I'm trying to
His
reach.
head's like out of the car.
Yeah.
He's like chest up. He's out of
That's
the
what I'm saying.
car.
You wouldn't even be fitting in the car.
It's really windy.
We couldn't put him with Matilda though.
And too many rocks.
No,
Go on back to the road.
We could not put him with.
Keep him out of the Nazi car.
Oh no,
Can't
We
do
can't
that.
go there.
can't do that one.
I'm trying to retard the spark 3 degrees. Dude, he's get back there. and do-
Dragon is pointy on
That'd
my.
be great. He'd be like, get back there, do it now. Do it. Be great, man.
Be great. Never.
Be good.
Glad you were able to find your way back.
All right, guys. So we gotta settle on something here, and I think we'll start with Mattila on this one. We ultimately have to decide if this was a good movie, full stop, a bad movie with no redeeming qualities, or is it a bad movie that rules? And I want to start with you because you kind of flipped on this, right?
A lot.
I mean, so talk about while you were watching it versus now where you're at.
While I was watching it, I think I texted you.
Yes,
And I
this is
was
the only
like,
reason I know
what
this.
The hell is this movie? Like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
He fields that from me a lot.
And
It's true.
I was watching with my wife, and I was like, I don't think Clint's gonna be there tomorrow. When I was
Like he's
watching
gonna
this
pull an
movie.
Ice Pirates. He's gonna be like, no, this is too bad. I can't do it.
This one was me. I think I put it on the list.
Yeah.
So, which I didn't know, but I was watching. I was like actually kind of not upset, but like just like, what is this?
Why
Like,
did I get stuck with this movie?
Yeah, like what did I do, James? Tell me, what is my sin? And then after the movie, I was thinking about the movie, and then I woke up in the middle of the night because I just did, and I was thinking about it, and I woke up in the morning and I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, I actually kind of like this movie.
Oh, see?
So I think it was the kind of thing that I only had the one chance to watch it. I wanted to watch it again today, but I just didn't have time with everything. So
Yeah.
I think this falls into a bad movie that rules. And what's unfortunate is I think most of that is just because of their budget.
Yeah.
I think they could have gone.
You can make great stuff with no budget.
You
Yeah.
can't.
You can
Which
make
you can.
fantastic
You
stuff.
can.
And I think they made a fantastic thing here. They didn't make trash. I think that
Right.
it doesn't check all the boxes because there wasn't the money for what they were doing.
Right.
right.
They tried to do too much for their budget.
I think it was aggressive what they were trying to do, and I
Yeah.
think they did a really good job.
They were
with what
really
they had.
ambitious.
Yeah, that's
And-
exactly. Ambitious but rubbish.
So you'd say it's a bad movie that rules.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you hated it when you watched it.
Right.
But now that you haven't watched it, the more you think about it, you like it.
It's kind of like hanging out with Clint.
I buy that. I actually felt the same way about Napoleon Dynamite, and I think
Yeah.
we've discussed it before on
Yeah.
here. It's like while
Yeah.
I'm watching, it's like, what the hell is this turd? And you think about it later, and
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
should watch that again. I
do the
have
chickens
similar
have large
experience.
talons? You know, it's like, why does that make me laugh? It just does. I don't know.
Where are you at on this one, Clint?
I think we can all agree there's no separating the fact that this is a bad movie. I mean, subjectively, it's a bad movie, but it rules, man. The entertainment value of this thing is through the friggin' roof. So this
Yeah.
is bad movie rules out loud.
Okay. Charles, where'd you end up on this one?
I am currently looking at the Rotten Tomatoes to understand how critics got to 80.
Because they like
What-
Roger
what
Ebert
I'm-
gave it a bad review.
What I'm curious about is
does
whether
not like
these critics are saying what I think what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say it's an objectively good movie,
No.
like well made or anything, but it is awesome.
it is awesome.
It is probably one of the most fun bad movies that there are.
There you go.
Because and maybe it's because I saw it when I was 8. It's been in my subconscious for many years, and then when I got older, I realized there's boobs in it, which is even better. so you're like, wow, this movie just went up another notch in my viewing experience.
Let's go.
And I don't. It's just something about it is so. It's so weird and so over
Yeah.
the top,
Yeah.
and it has just enough of everything crazy to make it like fun.
You
It's
kind of
just
want
fun.
you kind of want the second season. You know what I mean? It's like we need the other 45 minutes of this thing.
I think it's just. I think once, and I think as well because obviously as a little kid, I was more disturbed by it because of the violent, like the heads exploding things are a little bit, for a 7 or 8 year old.
In some countries, that was edited pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like all of that stuff.
I mean, I saw this on TV. It was late. I remember watching this movie. It was late at night. I remember years later trying to find it and I don't know if I would have been an adult, probably, maybe a teenager. I've watched it a handful of times, maybe over since then. But it's just a lot of fun watching it again. I'm like, this is just. And I think what I was going to say is when you understand, I think they're attempting to make a social commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes it even that much more entertaining because they're doing it for that purpose and to be funny. And other than obviously like the hitting the women thing, there's not great commentary there. But
Well, I mean, they do it, but you realize that Joe's a
he
dirtbag.
is a
So
dirtbag.
Right.
That's true. The good guy is a good guy, and bad guys are bad guys. And Calamity Jane's somewhere in the middle, and
She's a good bad guy. Yeah.
so complicated depth of characters even.
Yeah. So
that's true.
Here's what I'd say. I think anytime you've got a movie, and yes, they were hamstrung by their budget, which I can appreciate. But when you've got things like massively sped up film, obviously sped up film, those types of things that you have to do that where the seams are showing a little bit in the film and the filmmaking and stuff, and you're pushing cars down the hills and stuff. The fact that they made this with all of those things is a miracle.
Yeah.
So kudos to them. But it's hard to say this is objectively good. But yeah, I had a blast. So of course it's a bad movie that rules for me.
Yeah.
So
They had
a clean sweep
that loved this movie, making this movie.
for sure.
Well, and part of what won me over to liking this movie so much is the fact that I was actually, my wife kept picking on stuff in the film, and I was like, well, the blood looks like that because that's what they had in the 70s. And like, all this different stuff looks this way because of the limitations of the time. But then also like all these concepts they put in, the dollars too, but all these concepts they put in, all the things, Hunger Games, like all these other things we called out to, it's like these guys did it first.
Right.
And they did it pretty dang well.
It's not a trope because they did it first.
Right. And you can't call out to this other, because she kept being like, oh, well, that's like this. I'm like, yeah, but these guys were first. Like, this is what those guys were doing.
Someone watched this movie and thought that would be good to include in other things.
Yeah.
Having just watched you guys make these movies, like I said, even the one I got to be a part of, I was just sidelined for more than anything. But watching you guys, what do you think if you were to remake this now? We're not big budget people, never were, not even big budget minded. How far you think you get before you spend $300,000? Well, all right.
Really
let's change it for time. $600,000 now. If we had $600,000, we'd run out with 20 minutes worth of footage.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Legit,
That's true.
because we would try and make the makeup better, the costumes better, the cars would be cooler, all that stuff would just eat money, and they did what they had to do.
I mean, there's a lot of, just think of all the people that worked on this, and how much of that $300K just had to go to feeding and paying people, right?
They went from 300 to 8 million.
But I'm saying, at the time they made the movie, you got to pay and feed people. How much of that $300K actually went to what you see on screen?
Right.
Probably not as much as you think.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's where I say
actresses sharing trailers.
Yeah, well, if they had a trailer, right?
They were just sharing
Based
that
on the
airport
film.
hangar.
Yeah, that's why they all had to get rubbed down in the same room. Like, this is the only room we have.
They were just like, wait, this is a good shot.
We have to make this room look like their bedroom in a second. So
That was actually just them
That
on the
had nothing
day.
to do with the movie.
They're like,
right.
wait, what are the actors doing? They're all in a room naked. Maybe we
Pretend
should
to
just
interview
film
them.
that.
So
Yeah.
speaking of people in a room naked, next week we are going to be.
Hope not.
Hope not with this crew. We're going to have Kurt and Joe in here, and we are going to be talking about Condor Man.
Oh, man.
Dun, dun,
Sounds
dun. Yeah, 1981's Condor Man, which won the poll of our patrons that vote on such things, which you can join the Patreon and vote on future upcoming episodes. The 1981 special, it's not on Disney Plus, even though it's a Disney movie, but it's out there. You can rent it for a few bucks. It looks like it was shot in 1968, but it's from 1981.
Oh, wow.
So
That was a good sign.
it's a great sign. It's going to be a great time.
if you get a chance, watch Space Truckers.
Yeah.
Get prepared for that movie when we do it.
Or he wants to start a grassroots campaign. Like, if enough of the listeners demand Space Truckers, then we're gonna get to do it. Okay?
Necessarily want space
Selling
truckers.
point is a
He doesn't
Full
really
chain
want
wiener.
to do space truckers. He just wants to figure out where he finds the device.
The only other one I remember is there was one of the Naked Gun movies. They had that joke too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Space Truckers probably stole it from them.
Maybe.
Well,
We'll
I don't know. Yeah, it was a newer movie.
Thank you all for listening. Thanks for being here. On behalf of Ryan Mattila and Charles Hewitt, Clint Bush, I'm James Hauser. We thank you all for
things. We thank you all for things.
Thank you all for going for it.
We thank you all for listening. It's time. We're racing to LA now. It's a death race.
You look like a potato.
A large thing.
A really large big
Boy
potato.
Scouts run too fast.
No, Frankie.